Grainger knows that as an HVAC technician, the heat is on you every day. Your first call.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to WJOB 1230 AM and 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. And this is the morning call, day 2. It's a 2 for a week. So it is an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. We'll be here until 9 a.m. Don't forget, it's 7 a.m. Mayor Thomas McDermott, the mayor of the city of Hammond, will be joining me live in the studio, and he'll be taking your calls. And then after the mayor, John Daugherty will be here, and he'll also take your calls. And I'm joined by Adriana Alvarez. It's always great to work with Adriana.
Yeah,
we kind of started. You started with me, which is there. So there you go.
Full circle.
It's great to be here with you. Let's go to traffic and weather. And traffic, looking pretty darn good at this time of the morning. 8094, I-65, the toll road, Klein Avenue, all look great in northwest Indiana. Going across the line in Illinois, you start to see some backup on the Dan Ryan. Kind of expected at this point in time in the morning. We also have pretty easy going on 294. I will just point out that the Bishop Ford, according to the data maps, is showing that there are no backups right now going north to the merge with I-57 and the Dan Ryan. That may be an anomaly, or it may actually be true. The Stevenson continues to have construction. So does the Kennedy, and the Eisenhower is its usual problem. So there you go with traffic. Let's talk weather with Adriana.
Yeah, currently right now at the Shack and Vento Studios, it is 64 degrees. Today we are seeing highs of 72 and lows of 57. Intervals of clouds and sunshine with shower in spots and breezy this afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy weather. Continuing on for the rest of the weekend, on Friday, highs of 77, lows of 60, mostly sunny and comfortable, partly cloudy with a shower in the late. Saturday, highs of 78, lows of 59, partly sunny and pleasant with increasingly clouds. And then Sunday, we are looking at lows of 67, highs of 58, heavy rain and thunderstorms, and rain becoming intimate in the nighttime. But with the drop in temperature, it's a good time to open the windows.
Yeah, it will be nice and cool. It'll be Father's Day this Sunday, so lots going on this weekend. Actually, and you'll enjoy this because you know the joke. So if you remember, I have a phone that has like 25 or 26 versions of Sounds of Silence. Well, they're having a cover band over at the Pavilion this weekend in Hammond. It's a tribute band for Simon and Garfunkel. So we'll go Saturday to it.
There you
go. Much to the chagrin of birthday girl today, my wife Donna.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Shout out to her. And I'm sure she's like dreading having to go and listen to Simon and Garfunkel. But she's gone with me before to a couple of cover bands that play Simon and Garfunkel, so it won't be that painful. But happy birthday, Donna. So 845-1100 is the number to call, and we've already got callers, so let's go right to the phones. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Mike?
Are you going to have these new donuts that they're coming out with?
New donuts. What are those?
Yeah, and I wonder if they'll have them gluten free for Jed, but they're going to come out with Mountain Dew donuts. Now I wonder if it's going to be caffeine free, regular, or diet.
Boy, I don't know. I think if they're Mountain Dew, they've got to have a pretty good infusion of caffeine, though, because I mean that's really part of the allure of Mountain Dew. But I don't know how you bake caffeine into a donut. So where did you hear about this?
It was just on the news this morning. I woke up, I'm always watching news, drink my coffee, waiting for this station to come on, and that. And then now, because you go to church, one thing about the weather, you're a Mr. Flower guy. You sure don't have to water your flowers with all the rain we got.
No, you're absolutely right. As far as watering, things are going great. The only problem that you have to worry about this time of the year is with all the rain that we've had. I'm probably going to have to miracle grow, and I usually don't miracle grow this early in the season, but I'm going to have to because what's happening is there's so much rain and so much moisture. It's washing a lot of the nutrients out of the baskets and what have you. So you've got to add some fertilizer.
One more thing I want to talk about. I'll let you go, so you two can have all the wonderful other callers call in. But me and my wife got our senior citizen lifetime fishing license, and it doesn't expire till the year 2101, which means it's good for 75 years.
Well,
okay,
it'd be great if you live 75 more years.
Yeah, but the thing is, it'd be good up to 75 years, and when it expires, I'll be 145. Well, between a couple of the fishermen on this channel and you go to church, when I pass away, should I make sure that my fishing license, my tackle box, and fishing pole is with me when I go up there? Can I fish up there?
I don't know that I can answer that. The next time the bishop is on, maybe we'll ask him, but I'm not sure about that. However, I will tell you, I just looked up the Mountain Dew Dunker Donuts, or the Dew Nuts, and so they're green. It's green frosting, and they're round donuts, and they're being distributed at Quick Trips, and this is a interesting looking donut. I don't know that I want one, but it is interesting looking. So
I'm going to let you go in a second, but McDonald's is finally going to go from baking apple pies to going back to frying the apple pies.
I saw that. I saw that, and you and I remember when they used to have the apple pie, how good it was because it was fried, right? I mean, that really gave a taste to it.
Yes. So okay, I probably got everybody hungry, and I maybe everybody's going to go get a Mountain Dew donut this morning and not be able to listen to you guys. But
now wait a minute, where are these available? Did you see? Because it's not saying. I'm looking at a USA Today story, but it's not saying where they're available. It just says a Quick Trip, wherever that is.
Yeah, Quick Trip. I think those are those gas stations, but I don't think we have any around here. But thing is. One more question I got to ask you. I saw an advertisement. The Whiting's having a 4th of July parade.
Every year. It's the oldest 4th of July parade in the state of Indiana.
Where does it start and where does it end?
The parade starts right at Lake Avenue and Indianapolis Boulevard, which is also 116th Street, and it goes all the way to Whiting's Lakefront. It is the oldest parade, a 4th of July parade in the state of Indiana, and also the largest. So it's been running well over 100 years, and people turn out in droves to see it every year, and it really is a Whiting-Robertsdale parade. So it runs half of, let's say a little bit more than a third of the route is actually in Robertsdale in Hammond.
Yeah, okay, well, that's all I got to say. I'll let all the wonderful listeners and callers and people call in and yakety yak. So you, to everybody, and her, the producer, and everybody out there, just have a wonderful, safe day today.
All right, you as well, Mike. Thanks so much for the call. 845-1100 is the number to call this morning. And yesterday, of course, we were all terrified with the weather, and a lot of things got canceled, and a tremendous amount of rain. But we didn't have the severe weather that was predicted. Just a shout out again to Paul Goddard and Region News Source. They kept everybody up to date. Paul actually was the first person that I heard anywhere who said this may not materialize. It may not be as bad as it was thought, that it might go south, and that's what it did. So I understand that there was a tornado, a pretty significant tornado down in Effingham, Illinois. And I haven't heard about much damage in the state of Indiana, but we dodged a bullet. We dodged a big one, and that's great news. So anytime you dodge catastrophe. It's good for us. Tremendous amount of rain though, so I feel sorry for the people down in Maryville in that area because they're still trying to pick up the pieces from last week, and I'm sure the rain didn't help things. But the good news is we're all here in one piece, and we've got more callers. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning.
This feels like 45 years ago for you, maybe about 50. I used to get excited as a student. Live in a rural area. I lived close to the Kankakee River, and there were times we were out of school a lot because of snow. And I used to love watching John Coleman on Channel 7, if you remember him.
I not only remember him, I actually knew him. I actually knew John Coleman.
And he helped. I believe he helped create Weather Channel, but was with him briefly. But
he did. He left Chicago News Media to create the Weather Channel. You're absolutely right.
He was great for viewing, and he always had the higher estimates of snow. And I remember one day he goes, and he had this big estimate. The others didn't quite have that big, but I think they were afraid to say, we may get nothing. So I stayed up later. I just remember in the morning, here I am probably like 13 to 15, and my mom's like, hey, guy, get up. I go, for what? She goes, school. I go, what about the snow? She goes, we got none. And as someone at my age now, I'm much happier to not have the forecast. Although I did see last week, Tom Skilling was on live from his high rise with the rest of the Channel 9 crew, because I just thought he was so good, and he was enjoyable to watch in that stuff. But yeah, I was watching the stuff live in Charleston, Illinois. They showed one of the storm chasers came through, and this house just got hammered, and unfortunately people were inside and got hurt, and they pulled away from that for obvious reasons. Well,
do you remember a guy named P.J. Hawk? Now, P.J. Hawk was the first real weather meteorologist in Chicago. He was on in the 1960s on CBS too. And you mentioned John Coleman, and John Coleman actually, when I was town manager of Cedar Lake, we had an Armed Forces Day parade and air show, and John Coleman came out, and he was actually the MC and the announcer, and really nice guy, very, very nice. And you're right, he left to start the Weather Channel, and but he sold off his interest fairly early, so he still made money on it, but he didn't become the the owner of what the Weather Channel is nowadays. And Tom Skilling, I've met him before. Tom is a very affable guy, very, very nice. Let's see, who else do I know? Megan Galeros, of course, she was on CBS 2. Mm-hmm. Ed, oh my gosh, can't think of his name now. He is a meteorologist also on CBS 2 and known him for a long time. Met Jerry Taft before. So knew quite a few of those individuals, and all very, I will say this much, when it comes to the meteorologists, they're usually the most affable, friendly people of the station.
I'm going to get to my main question in 1 second, but it's funny you mention all these folks, you go through history remembering. Brant Miller, I remember when I was a kid in the mid-'70s, it was WLS. My mom would listen to Larry Lujack in the morning. You had Bob Surratt. Brant Miller was on, and obviously, John Rutgers-Landecker, right. He and Bob Surratt are in WGN, and that would have been a station those guys would have made fun of 40 years ago.
Brant Miller, actually, he started on WIND, then he went over to WLS. But yes, you're absolutely right.
You're going to have the mayor on this morning, which is going to be enjoyable viewing. What I was curious is someone has come out, and I enjoy watching these people who are in favor of the Bears coming to Hammond. They suggested Gibson Woods, but I heard the mayor, and I think it's on Indianapolis, an Indianapolis interview, say all he could say was that the location, that the other location, one of them that the Bears are looking at, it would be much more like the view we'd have driving down Lakeshore Drive. So I'm thinking, well, is that going to be pretty close to where the old steel mill or energy plant used to be? Do you have any thoughts that
Well, I don't think they'll go
Oh,
to.
you're guessing.
I don't think they'd go to State Line Generating, and here's why. State Line Generating actually already has one data center, and they're putting a huge expansion in, a $1.8 billion expansion. And the reason why that property is so valuable for data centers is because the old State Line Generating plant had a 60-plus million gallon a day intake permit for Lake Michigan water. And so, these data centers, one of the big problems is they use an immense amount of water to cool the plant. Well, that location actually comes with that $60 million a day permit. So I don't see them using that location. I think that when you go to Wolf Lake, however, if you look toward the Chicago Skyway, you see the Chicago skyline. And so,
Right.
There's really three locations. There's three locations. You've got south of the Pavilion, you've got south of 129th Street, and then you've got the BP oil property to the east of Calumet Avenue. And I think that's also a viable location. So those are the three that I believe they're looking at. But the mayor has had to, keep that information very, very close to his vest because he's under an NDA. He's under a non-disclosure agreement. And people say, well, he's the mayor of Hammond and he should be sharing all the information. I cannot fault Tom McDermott for not sharing information. First off, he's an attorney, so if you sign an NDA, he understands the legal consequences. And secondly, if it means that you have to keep quiet about certain information in return for getting the Chicago Bears, if you're the mayor of Hammond, you're going to keep quiet. So, but we'll see where we get him when he comes on at 7:00.
Here's what I'll say defending the mayor on that, and we kind of had to deal with some of that stuff where I'm located. You elect individuals make decisions, and sometimes they can't share things in the process. If you're unhappy with those decisions, then you vote someone else in. If you're happy, keep them in. But people can't share with the entire population. Here's what we're doing on every single move, or you won't get anything done.
Absolutely correct.
Tom,
absolutely
thank you.
Correct. Thanks for the call. 845-1100. We'll take one more call, and then we'll go to a break. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Tom, have you seen this story about this investigation into Gavin Newsom?
I have, and I find it very interesting because it's now come out that the investigation into Gavin Newsom's wife actually began under the Biden administration.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to the Chris Denning show?
No, I have not. No, I have not.
Okay, well, he had a lady on yesterday that had basically the breakdown of what's going on with that family, and some of the things that she said pretty much amazed me. I guess his salary as governor. Now, I didn't fact check this lady, but she seemed pretty legit. But they said his salary as governor of California is $240,000.
Okay, all right.
And between him and his wife, one of their houses is a $15 million mansion. The mortgage payment, not including taxes and insurance, is $42,000 a month, the mortgage payment. And he has a home in Sacramento, and the mortgage payment on that is a scotch over $13,000 a month. So this guy has like $55,000 a month worth of mortgage payments off a $240,000 salary, and everybody's wondering, how does this go on?
Well, what I understand from what I read yesterday, and again, pretty reputable sources, the original investigation actually came from a whistleblower, and the origins of the investigation began under the Biden administration. Newsom, of course, has made his enemies, including in state politics, and it was a whistleblower. But as I understand it, his wife, bless you, his wife has basically worked out a deal with several not-for-profits where she's funneled money to those not-for-profits through her husband in return for them paying her some pretty hefty fees, either as a contractor employee or as an employee. And that's where the problem lies. So it's a question of, was it, pay to play or what was it? But it actually came from, among other things, the person's been described as a staunch Democrat. So it's not it's not coming from the Trump administration. Of course,
Right,
Newsom
right.
went out there, held a press conference, and said, the Trump administration is trying to crucify me and they're coming after me. And it ends up that it actually it started under the Biden administration, and in fact, there's a lot of conjecture on this that the person who might have been behind some of this was that the whistleblower supposedly has some sort of ties to Kamala Harris, who had been the Attorney General. Yeah, she was the Attorney General of the state of California, and she is not a huge fan of Gavin Newsom. So it's very interesting. It's easy to blame Donald Trump for absolutely everything, and he deserves to be blamed for a lot of things. But this is one that he's not involved in, from what I understand. This is Newsom making a lot of enemies over the years in California, and it's one of his own party enemies that turned him in or made the allegations.
Yeah. So just remember, to all the people that like to talk about the quote unquote oligarchs, make sure you cover the full spectrum of who the oligarchs are. $42,000 a month mortgage payment. Give me a break.
Well, let me ask you a quick question. This is a topic that I want to talk about today. There is a definite shift in the Democratic Party toward socialist candidates. The nominee for the Democratic candidate for mayor out of D.C. now looks like she's probably to the left of the mayor of New York, and there's this big push toward socialism in some of the inner cities. The question is that going to play with the rest of the country? And it's the socialist Democrats that keep on throwing out the term oligarch, because that's, of course, Bernie Sanders' term. And I don't think most of America even knows what an oligarch is. So do you believe that there's appeal for that type of approach or not?
Well, yeah, when only 40% of this people in this country pay taxes, then you got a shot at something when you're going to 60% of the population, because most of the population are takers. You got the makers and you got the takers in this world.
But don't you believe that most people still want to have some control on their money, and they don't want to pay exorbitant taxes, and there's still the American dream, the idea that you work hard and you can be successful. I mean, look, I think it's outrageous. I think it's just impossible to believe that Elon Musk is worth $1.3 trillion. I mean, that's insane. But at the same time, when you look at Musk, I mean, he didn't come from a $1 billion family. He kind of made himself. I mean, he's a phenomenal visionary that has become extremely successful. I would like to see Elon Musk, announce that he's giving half of his money away to charities or something, because he could do that and still be the wealthiest man on earth. And I'm kind of disappointed that he hasn't done something like that. But do I fault Elon Musk for being successful? And when you hear Musk talk, he talks about he came to America and he made he was able to live the American dream, and I still believe in the American dream.
Yeah. Oh, so do I. And people that cry about Musk and his $1 trillion, let's say things went sideways for him when he stuck his neck out and started that car company. What if it went bankrupt on him?
Oh, I think a lot of people thought that he was crazy. Remember, they made Musk out to be almost a fool, that he was building this automobile manufacturing plant in the U.S. and it wasn't going to go anywhere, and his cars weren't going to be attractive and they weren't going to be successful. And look, now everybody wants a Tesla.
Yeah, and with the SpaceX thing, like I said, everybody that complains, go stick your neck out.
Well,
because that's what he did.
And he comes up with some crazy ideas. I mean, his boring system hasn't been the success that everybody thought it would be, or that he thought it would be. But you know what?
Yep.
He's got enough money. He can fail 10 times and still be unbelievably successful. So, hey, thanks so much for the call. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to The Morning Call, Day 2 on WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. We'll be right back.
For over 100 years, Roofers Local 26 has been keeping Northwest Indiana dry and safe. Since 1919, our highly trained members have built a reputation for skills, safety, and reliability. With a 4-year apprenticeship and certifications in OSHA safety, first aid, and CPR, we deliver quality you can trust. When you need roofing done right, choose Roofers Local 26, protecting what matters most for over a century. For more information, visit www.roofers26.com.
Introducing Powers Health, a health system with a new name and a strong legacy of caring for families in our community. One with a tradition of advanced specialized services and a vision for the future. One with a commitment to medical excellence and compassionate care. Everything we do, everything we believe, Powers Health.
When your home needs help, the last thing you need is a faceless corporation or sales-driven franchise. At Myers Companies, we've been proudly local since 1951, born and raised right here in Northwest Indiana. We're family-owned and operated, built on trust, hard work, and integrity. And because we're family, we treat you like family. Your comfort and safety always come first. For HVAC, plumbing, and electrical done right, choose Myers Companies. Local, family-owned, here for your family.
Ogren Insurance, Hammond's oldest family-owned independent insurance agency, now in its 3rd generation, providing clients in the Chicago area with products from quality insurance companies to handle your every need. Regardless of driving history, Ogren Insurance can find the right coverage for you at competitive prices. To learn more about the insurance solutions and services we offer throughout Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, call 219-933-0076 or visit our website, ogreninsurance.com. We're located at 6929 Homan Avenue in Hammond, Indiana. Do business locally with someone you know and trust.
All right, we're back. And, Adriana, you're young. You're going to be a success. I'd like to see you as successful as Elon Musk someday.
Hopefully. I mean, that'd be great.
But, what's your take on it? I mean, here's a guy that's worth $1.3 trillion, but he made himself into it.
Mm-hmm. I think my take on it is, yes, you made your living. You did not come from a very wealthy background. You built your success. That he has this amount of money, I think, is pretty crazy. I couldn't even imagine that amount of money, let alone see it on a bank statement. But you're not obliged to help out, if that makes sense. So, yes, the amount of money that he has, he can end a lot of the United States problems, even end a lot of the world problems.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If he
but
gave
you're
away,
not required to.
If he gave away $500 billion today,
he'd be fine.
He'd still be worth $800 billion, which would still be more than John D. Rockefeller was worth at the height of his. They always say Rockefeller was the wealthiest person in history, if you adjust for inflation, but now it's Elon Musk by far. So, I mean, Rockefeller gave away a lot of his money, Mellon, Carnegie. I mean, people know those names because they're on libraries and buildings around the area. But you're right. He's not required to do it.
He's not required. I feel that with the current state of the world, there is a lot of pressure to do so because people see that money and they compare it to statistics. And they're like, well, you can help people with this. You can help people with this. Why don't you? They don't have to. Would it be nice? Yeah, it would be amazing. But like you said, it's not a requirement. And we were also talking a little bit during the breaks because I had asked the question, didn't this idea to not really heavily tax the ultra wealthy start with Ronald Reagan? But like you said, it was a different kind of set of statistics of economy at the point in time. But could that potentially be what the current administration is trying to make successful of that idea? Because as of what I've learned, that when Reagan was in office, it didn't really work as they expected.
Well, it didn't work to the extent that Reagan wanted to, but the idea, so the concept was, they called it the trickle down theory. Back in the early 80s, the very wealthy were being overtaxed and they weren't investing, and we had high unemployment. And so Reagan's idea was reduce the taxes on the wealthy, in return give them tax credits and tax breaks for spending that money on investing in new facilities and new equipment in the United States and creating more jobs. And to that extent, it did work. But again, it's kind of a different time and place where we're living now. But you still believe in the American dream, the idea that you can go out, you can be successful, you put work in. If that's not the case, then why do you hold two jobs? You're 22 years old and you work two jobs.
Yeah, well, that and also everything's expensive, man. I see the little jokes and the little social media things. It's like, man, what was I doing at 2008 playing with my toys when I should have been investing in houses?
Well, again, it's just, to me, it doesn't make sense though to have this huge rise of socialism. All right. Now, look, I believe very strongly that government has a responsibility to help out those that can't help themselves.
Yes.
Okay. But when you look at the results of all the monies that government has spent over the years in the United States, the results just aren't there. We spend money, and I'm not trying to pick on California since the caller had mentioned Gavin Newsom. I'm going to try to pick on California, but when you look at the fact that the city of Los Angeles spent $143 million on the homeless population, which is about 40,000 people, and they were able to help like 1,700, and you do the math and you say, oh my gosh, they spent a couple $100,000 per person. If you could maybe figure a way to spend those dollars where it could do the most good and not just be a way to employ a lot of extra people in not-for-profits. I've worked in not-for-profits a couple of times, and I think the world of not-for-profit organizations, but there are plenty of them that are very heavy laden when it comes to executives and staff, and you don't get the dollars that go to the actual cause. So, when you look at some of these ads, even on TV, St. Jude, Shriners, those dollars do actually get to where you want them to get to.
Yes.
Okay. Tunnel for Towers is another one. I think Tunnel for Towers, 94% of all dollars given actually go to helping individuals. So that's pretty amazing. But then you have other organizations. There's that Fellowship of Christians and Jews. You see those ads all the time. Well, less than 10% of the dollars donated actually go to help those people that you see on there. You see those heartbreaking photos of people who survived the Holocaust. And you say, well, I want to give to them. You know, who wouldn't? And then you find out that basically that organization is so heavily laden with administration and executives that almost none of the dollars end up going there. So if there was a way to structure where the dollars went to help people, I would say it'd be a lot easier for a lot of people to give and support those methods. Now,
this is so talking about the ultra wealthy and the taxation that they receive. What are your thoughts on what's happening in New York City?
So I think the problem with New York City so far has been that you've got a lot of people who supported Mandami, and I think I think it's misguided because the dollars that are going so far don't seem to be going to actual causes. So once again, you've got people spending. You're spending a lot of tax dollars to prop up a lot of very expensive positions. His head of housing, she's making $250,000 a year, but they haven't. She hasn't produced yet one plan for actual housing reduction, and it ends up that she owns a bunch of properties too, and so she talks about these landlords are overcharging people and how bad it is, and then you find out she's one of them. And so I think there's always that there's always the reality of some of the things that get said that they don't come to fruition. And again, the idea of helping out people in New York, Chicago, wherever, I think is great. But look at the amount of money that the city of Chicago spent. $660 million on immigrants, a couple of years ago. And you say, well, okay, but they were busing them to Chicago, and Chicago needed to do something. And then you find out when you listen to some of those city council meetings where, like, the African-American population has kind of risen up against Johnson because their point was you took $660 million, you basically disenfranchised a lot of the programs that were helping our community, and we live here. And it ends up that you weren't helping the immigrant population either, because other than putting them up in pricey hotels, which just helped the hotel owners, you really didn't do anything that was substantial. And I think that's a big problem. And I think New York, some of the projects and some of the statements that come out, it sounds like, people should maybe not have to pay for buses, okay, so they can get to a job. That sounds great. And if it were to happen, it probably wouldn't be the worst thing that ever happened in New York City. All right. If you could get more people to their jobs so that they had jobs, that's a positive. But in reality, what I've read so far is opening up the buses and making them free has just basically allowed the criminal population and the population that, makes walking in New York City dangerous for you and me, it's just made it worse. So, again, it's like cause and effect. So you want to do good, all right, and government should do good, but you have to have some controls on it. And I brought this up the other day. Mayor McDermott's going to be here in about half an hour. One of the things that he started when he became mayor of Hammond was he started a program called the Charitable Gaming Commission, where there's a group of individuals, I believe there's 9 individuals, who review basically once a year applications for funds that are derived from casino gaming taxes. All right. And so you've got all these do-good organizations, the Elks and the Knights of Columbus and everybody else. And they approach the commission, and the commission then reviews those applications and decides whether those applications should be funded or not. And the mayor and the city council have final approval. And almost always they approve what the committee has come up with. See, I think that process works very well because the committee, I can tell you, having been on the committee, the deliberation, they go through and they look at things and they say, okay, the Adriana Alvarez Foundation, she wants $100,000 for a new roof. Why does she need a new roof, and what is she going to actually do with the money? And they want proof that you're going to get a new roof and you're not going to take the money and put it in your left pocket. And I think if cities and towns take that type of approach where they can justify it, people have called and said, oh, Hobart took some money from the new data center and gave it to an organization, and it was done, kind of under the table or not with a formal process. I mean, I don't think there was any real problem with what they did. I think it was just the appearance of impropriety maybe is the biggest issue. But I like when a city or a government has a process set up so that you also know that the Adriana Alvarez Foundation can go to that process and it has the same chance as the Knights of Columbus, or it has the same chance as any other organization. Yeah. I think that's the way things should be done. Too often, a lot of tax dollars flows into these not-for-profits, and people don't really do the due diligence that they need to do to find out where those dollars are going.
Yeah, that is one thing. When a lot of people are asking for donations, we would like to think that everybody is a good person and will donate to the given cause, but it's kind of scary that we have to think about that.
Well, it is.
It could not potentially go to the designated place. Now, that we talked about New York City, and another thing that has kind of raised concern, well, not so much a concern, just like people have pointed out, that if they tax the ultra wealthy in New York City, then they'll just move
Yeah.
out of New York City. The moment that they move out of New York City, what is the next plan? Like, what is the backup plan to that? Because I know a lot of people were saying that those who are in New York City, like, okay, well, we'll just go to our summer homes in Florida. Like,
and that's what they
peace
did.
out.
That's what they did. You've seen this huge exodus from New York, and not just New York City, the state of New York. Their governor, Kathy Hochul, a couple of years ago said, if you don't want to pay our taxes, good riddance, leave. And they did. And so I was in Miami over the Memorial Day weekend, and you look at the skyline of Miami, and it's massive, and it's growing day in and day out. And a lot of those people who are in New York basically realized they could relocate to Miami, and so the money is going in there, and they've got all this influx. And now Kathy Hochul is begging them to come back. I mean, she's literally stated, I want you to come back. Governor Pritzker in Illinois has kind of done the same thing. He said, well, if you don't want to pay your taxes, then go somewhere else. Well, Illinois continues to lose population to states like Indiana and Wisconsin because people say, okay, you're taxing us too much. And when you look at the way some of these tax structures are created, it's not fair either. So here, the city of Hammond, the mayor gets told each year, this is how much money you have for your budget. All right. And then he gets to carve up in the city council how they're going to spend that money.
Yeah.
In Chicago and in Illinois and in New York, they basically come up with a budget and say, this is what we want to spend money on. And then the taxpayers have to pay that amount. And so there's a huge difference in the way certain states tax their residents. I mean, again, in Indiana, if the mayor wants to spend more money on police and fire, then he's got to take it from somewhere else. Okay. In Illinois, they just say, okay, we're going to tax more people. And so what they've done in the city of Chicago, for example, there are a lot of people on the south side of Chicago, the west side of Chicago, who are in kind of impoverished areas, and they can't afford to live there anymore because they're paying like $8,000 and $9,000, $10,000 taxes on a home that's worth $100,000. I mean, when you pay $10,000 taxes on a home worth $100,000, that's 10% of the value. And in 10 years' time, you've paid taxes equal to the entire value. And that basically just drives down property values. And it doesn't help, the city become successful. And a lot of people, I think, that listen to the radio here don't realize what's going on in Chicago. And I've read some really interesting reports where, again, residents who are trying to keep their community together, trying to improve their community, and their point is we can't do it because people can't afford to live here.
Yeah.
Especially senior citizens. I mean, I'm going to turn 66. Taxes are important, and if you live in Chicago and you've got a $10,000 a year tax bill, all right, that works out to about $800 a month. That's a lot of money, and if you're on a fixed income, if it goes up another $2,000 or $3,000 next year, now you have to give up something else. So what are you going to do? Give up the insurance on your home or on your car, or give up food? I mean, there are some real struggles that are going on, and I think you have to have a balance. So you have to look at government's there to help people. Government has to, be that safety net. I agree. But you also can't just have an unlimited checkbook and say, we're just going to charge everybody for it. So 845-1100 is the number to call. Again, this rise of socialism is just one topic that I think needs to be looked at. Just give you another example of things that are going on. So I brought this up yesterday, and while I was sitting here, somebody by the name of Lenny, I won't use his last name, but he posts on the what's going on in Hammond that property taxes, it's just been announced, property taxes are going up dramatically, and your NIPSCO bills are going to be taxed to pay the Bears Stadium. Okay? And one of the department heads of the city of Hammond, friend of mine, Kelly Kearney, good morning, Kelly, if you're listening, was the first one to respond, and he said, where did you get this? This isn't true at all. All right. And then I saw a friend of mine, Dawn, who listens to the radio, show regularly, and she responded and said, "What are you basing this on?" And I actually put a shout out to the guy and said, "Look, why don't you call in tomorrow morning at 845-1100 and tell us where you got this information, because nobody else knows this and it's just totally false." And my point is that there's so much misinformation that exists on the internet right now, especially social media.
Well, I was going to say, I wouldn't believe that the NIPSCO with the Hammond Bears, because NIPSCO is just not just for Hammond.
Right,
for
right. But see,
North is...
people
but okay.
but people create these crazy fictitious stories, and I don't understand why. I mean, why not? And there was one woman who actually took to task somebody else that I know and said, you don't know the story. You really don't know. And they said, really? Where did you get your information? And they're like, I'll just keep it quiet, because there is no information. They make up stories. They make up these just ridiculous stories. I mean, I've seen postings before where people, it's a nice, pleasant evening, and then they claim that they heard gunshots, or that this is going on or that's going on. When there was a fire right near the state line earlier this year, a former classmate of mine from high school actually posted that the flames from a brush fire near the state line had gotten all the way to Pulaski Park, and that Pulaski Park was on fire. And I thought, you got to be kidding me, right? I mean, I know you.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, I actually called my friend who's the Hammond Fire Chief, Bernie Grisolia, and Bernie's like, no, Tom, it was a bad brush fire. We put it out. We got it out
And contained it.
And contained it. Thank you. And here's this person claiming, no, she saw the flames basically on the backside of, I think, the Family Dollar over on Pulaski Park, right at Sheffield Avenue. I mean, why do people make up these ridiculous claims on the internet? There's so much misinformation. Why not just give accurate information, or give your opinion? If you want to say, I think that brush fire could spread all the way through Pulaski Park, it'd be one thing. But for you to say you saw the flames burning through Pulaski Park, I mean, or if you say, I'm concerned about the Bears project because it might increase my taxes, okay, that's legitimate, right? But then to say, no, I have proof that they're going to raise property taxes and they're going to tax their NIPSCO rates to fund the Bears. I mean, just why do you have to make up falsehoods all the time? And it's all day and all night when it comes to the internet. And it's kind of scary because I was told, 30, 40 years ago that the internet was going to make us all smarter. You grew up with the internet. I mean, to you, it's always been there. But you at least grew up, your generation understands.
We knew what was the difference. The generation that is, I would say, between the age of preteen to teenagers, have a very different point of view. And I see that a lot with younger kids, especially when it comes into the education system. Now, regardless if you are in public school or private school or homeschooling, whatever the case may be, I see a big decline in awareness on the internet for... If we're just looking at education based, we were always told growing up that Wikipedia was not a reliable source because anybody can change it. And then I see kids citing their sources with Wikipedia. I see them writing their essays with AI, and I think just writing an essay with AI is just way more work than it needs to be. Yes, you finish it in 15 minutes, but then you gotta, if they want to go as far as, okay, change a few things here and there so your AI generators that catch you don't catch on, then okay, that's just too much work. Just write your own essay at that point. But it's depending on the site source. We were told edu.gov and or other sources would be a reasonable source, but I'm seeing these kids that are citing different things. Some kids do not have the reading comprehension that they should. I have friends that work in early education, and they are very concerned because either the kids are not reading at the level that they should, and or that they do not have the knowledge at 5, 6, 7-year-olds should have. And it comes from like their days of the week, their vocab, anything around that. And if there are any teachers listening, please call in, because I can imagine that it's a little frustrating, especially with the program. I don't know the exact term of it, but it's basically no kid left behind. That even if they are not performing at the level that they should, they still move up.
Yeah, well, in fact, you made some interesting points. So, for example, when you saw me, I was actually responding to a client this morning. I will not turn on the automatic correction Outlook.
Like Grammarly?
I don't do it, and I'll tell you why. I don't mind if it points out that there's a problem, but I still like to make sure that I check my spelling, and I become careless if it's on. I find out that when I turn it on, then I'm more careless, and I don't go back and read what I'm actually saying, and I need to read it. Your comment about Wikipedia is absolutely true. So some years ago, Wikipedia, for example, on Pierogi Fest, claimed that Pierogi Fest was founded by somebody else, and that Marty Dybel and Darlene Bierling and I stole it. Okay, and it was out there, and it took the better part of a year to get that fixed.
Yeah,
and the person that was assigned to that page, actually, it ends up, knew the person who made the false claim and refused to change it. So some good points. I mean, again, your generation at least understands that there's a lot of false information out there. My generation, the baby boomers and Generation X, I don't think always understands that a lot of information that's out there is just patently false. There's a friend of mine, and again, wonderful individual. She lives in East Chicago, and she will post, story after story and say, "Did you see this? Can you believe this?" And it's like, well, yeah, here's the problem. Organizations like Snopes, which is really good at discounting things, Snopes will post that it's a totally fictitious story, and they don't realize it. 845-1100 if you have a similar feeling to Adriana or I, or you totally differ with us, and we've got callers. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Adriana.
Good morning.
I'm sitting here listening this morning, and I always thought of Adriana as a big city liberal, and now I'm starting to hear more conservative thoughts coming across. So I'm worried about you, Adriana.
I'm going to tell you. I'm just going to tell you that there are so many people on this radio station that want to predict where Adriana's views actually are. And I've gotten to know Adriana both on the air and off the air. And I just chuckle when people call and say, "Oh, she's, her view is this and her view is that." What I find is Adriana has her opinion. Okay. She has her opinion. Part of it is certainly grounded and based in the views of her parents and the experience of her parents. But I think Adriana has a far more defined set of views than most people realize. But she's also very good. She's very good at listening to all sides and playing along when it comes to discussions. So there you go. That's my take on Adriana.
I like the dynamic of this show because, you're experienced, as we should say, boomer. Let me give a shout out to all the Gen Xers in the chat this morning talking about Gen X comments. But Adriana is speaking from, I don't know, her education, the professor she's had, things like that. She's gaining experience now, and I like the dynamic between the two of you. And I want to talk about two things that you guys have brought up. One, Tom, you were talking about having the mayor on later, and it's specifically a conversation about the Bears relocation. Is that what I'm understanding?
No. The mayor's going to come on, and he's going to talk about all kinds of things. So it's not just it's not just limited to the Bears by any means.
Well, my question about that was, has anybody ever considered, maybe finding the location of the Hammond Pros home games? I know they played most of their games at Wrigley Field in Chicago. That was their home base, essentially. But they did actually play on what was called Turner Field in Hammond.
Right.
and I'm told it's somewhere near Toll Court. I'm not really exactly sure where it was at, but would be an interesting place to site a new NFL stadium. But at least get some recognition for the Hammond Pros, at the new stadium if it comes.
Oh, absolutely. And from what I hear, it was Turner Field, and the other location actually is where North Lake Auto Recyclers is, just north of the IHB tracks in downtown Hammond. Now, I've not asked my brother David, who usually, when it comes to the history of Hammond and the area, knows exactly where everything is. So I haven't asked him yet, but I think that they said Turner Field, and also part of the area where North Lake Auto Rebuilders is, which would be basically just west of what's now Turner Field. So they were in that area, and I agree with you. If the Bears come to Hammond, there has to be some sort of an exhibit, a permanent exhibit, celebrating the Hammond Pros, because it's
there's
full
so
circle.
much fantastic history there. I mean, we had the very first African-American player in the league.
First African-American coach.
Absolutely documented history.
The first African-American head coach. I mean, that's really remarkable. Absolutely.
Yeah. It should be well documented if that happens. And my second comment was about the conversation you guys were having about Elon Musk and taxing, the super wealthy and things like that. And I heard something the other day, and I thought that's really interesting. Like, all these senators are out screeching about how Elon Musk doesn't pay his fair share. Well, he's the highest paying taxpayer in the history of not just the United States, but anywhere in the world. He's paid, I think it was like $8 billion last year in taxes. I mean, and here's the thing. He might be a trillionaire on paper, but that's all capital. That's invested capital in his various businesses. He doesn't have $1 trillion in the bank to pay taxes on. He's invested in all these businesses. That's where his wealth is.
Mike,
so he doesn't have the money to actually.
That's a very good point. So when Elizabeth Warren says, he could cut loose with a lot of his money, I mean, he does have hundreds of millions of dollars in liquid.
Well, keep in mind, he's got 24 kids. He's got to pay a lot of child support.
Boy, that's for sure. But if there's ever been a guy that could support 24 kids, 1.3 trillion will do very well.
But I heard one additional thing that I want to share before I let you go, and that was, all these senators and politicians who are saying, hey, you should give up some of your money, pay some taxes to support, distribution of food for youth services and things like that. And I heard a great comeback from somebody. I can't remember where I heard it, but he said, look, there's all these people waiting for kidneys on these, they're waiting for
the donor
kidneys.
List, right?
Donor list, exactly. He's like, it would only take 20% of the congressional politicians to give up one of their kidneys so that everyone would be off that list. Is there anybody willing to do that?
Yeah, I'm sure that's not going to happen anytime soon, Mont. One thing about Congress,
well, exactly.
They're
my
hypocrites.
Point. Yeah, and I will just point out too, Elon Musk has donated quite a lot. He's given up Starlink links to various locations around the world that didn't have any communications when there were communication blackouts based on the governments and stuff like that. So he's done a lot for us, and he doesn't get the credit. And that's why you don't want to tax all these wealthy people in New York and Chicago and Seattle, because it's more than just the taxes you can extract from them. They support nonprofits. They support new ventures. They hire new people. And the Democratic politicians don't seem to get that. They just want to go for that short-term virtue signaling that gets, their new constituents thrilled with them.
The only thing, Mon, I would disagree with you is I still believe that it's not all Democrats. I think there is a very active, aggressive portion of the Democratic Party that kind of fall under the Bernie Sanders followers, but I don't think it's the entire Democratic Party. I really don't. I hope I'm right. And everything that I encounter tells me that I'm right about that it's a faction.
I totally agree with you. And unfortunately, they're the ones who have the voice right now who get the ear of the media. That's the problem.
That is the problem. Hey, thanks so much for the call, Mont. 845-1100 is the number. We've got more callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You know, we've got some things going on in California with Governor Gavin Newsom and his wife. Her name is Jennifer Seibel Newsom, and they're currently under investigation by the Justice Department for, I guess, investigations on tax filings and use of nonprofit funds for personal expenses. Not sure how much you know about her, but Jennifer Seibel Newsom
talked about it. We talked about it a little bit, and what's really interesting, what came out yesterday, is that Newsom went out and said this is an attack by the Trump administration, but the fact is that the origins of the investigation came up during the Biden administration, and it was a whistleblower, someone who is as I understand it, a pretty staunch member of the Democratic Party who had basically locked horns with Gavin Newsom and basically turned them in. So Newsom, wants to say it's all Trump, but the reality of it now, it appears that it actually did not come from there. In fact, CNN did a great report on it night before last, and CNN said the fact is it doesn't. The origins are not from Donald Trump. That the origins are from a Democratic politician who basically locked horns with Gavin Newsom. There is some speculation that the person may have been put up to it by Kamala Harris at the time, because it did happen under the Biden administration.
No, I appreciate what you're saying, but that's not the road that I was going down. The avenue that I was going down. And I appreciate what you're saying. I'm going down a different avenue. So she's married to Gavin Newsom, and her name is Jennifer Seibel Newsom. But before she was married to Gavin, she had a relationship with Harvey Weinstein. I think most of us know who Harvey Weinstein. He's a Hollywood parasite that took advantage of lots of women, and I guess she had some sort of relationship with him. I guess she, knowingly went to his hotel room. They had some sort of consensual get-together and exchange. But then years later, when all this stuff was going down with him, she said, you know what? I see a money grab. She took him to court and she lost. But here's my point. What I'm trying to get at is you have a guest on today, the mayor of Indiana. I was doing some research, Thomas N. McDermott. I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but I want to do a little bit of research. And it says in 2015, complaints were dismissed by the Lake County, Indiana Election Board. Then McDermott allegedly violated finance laws for not properly itemizing over $200,000 in reimbursement for food, lodging, and rental cars. In November 2019, McDermott publicly admitted that he'd been fined $50,000 for improper campaign loans from his wife, Lake Circuit Judge Marissa McDermott. Isn't this guy just as corrupt? He's coming in at 8 o'clock. No. Are you going to kiss his butt and say, listen, you're a wonderful mayor? Are you going to call this slime ball out for what he is? I'm serious.
I will tell you. I will tell you. I've known him for years. I'm not going to give him a pass on anything, but I think that the stories that you're bringing
up, he's corrupt.
No, those issues have been discussed plenty. They've been discussed.
Come on, man. Be a good reporter. Build your show. Call him out. He's a liberal lunatic.
No, you know what? He's anything but thanks for the call. 845-1100. Why don't we take a break? You're listening to The Morning Call with Tom Dabertin on WJLB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Summer's coming, and Deep River Water Park is taking applications for all positions. We have jobs both inside and out for all ages that offer great benefits. Free admission on your day off for you and a friend. Free uniforms, paid training, make new friends, flexible scheduling, and more. To apply, just go to deepriverwaterpark.com and you're on your way to a summer of rewarding fun.
Deep River Water Park, it's simply splash-tastic.
From June 26th through 28th, Central Park in Griffith will host the Country Music Tribute Festival, featuring tribute performances inspired by artists such as Johnny Cash, George Strait, Morgan Wallen, Carrie Underwood, Tim McGraw, and more. The event invites families to enjoy on-site food and drinks on the lawn, with fireworks planned for Friday and Saturday nights. Best of all, admission is free. Don't miss out.
Crazy Kaplan's Fireworks.
Hi, I'm Greg Kaplan. Most of you know me as Crazy Kaplan. I started in the basement of my house with the vision of someday running my own fireworks business. Crazy Kaplan's Fireworks prides itself on taking care of you, the customer. Our largest fireworks store is located at Exit 5, Klein, and 8094 in Hammond. These showrooms right now are jam-packed. Because we import and buy volume, we can offer fireworks a huge savings and pass it on to the customer. Our selection will blow you away. As the saying goes, stack 'em deep, sell 'em cheap. Just like Papa Sam used to say, make the customer happy. The best selection of rockets, mortar shells, aerials, firecrackers, fountains, and family assortments. Come see us at Crazy Kaplan's Fireworks. We promise to make you our next #1 customer.
Crazy Kaplan's Fireworks.
It's the simplest expression. The smallest thing that changes everything. A smile. So easy. A smile lights it up. Apologizes. And welcomes unconditionally. Because the shortest distance between two people is a smile.
Thank you.
Strachan Van Til, where making life easier starts with a smile.
All right, folks, good morning. We're back. It's the Morning Call, day 2 on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. And joining me this morning is Mayor Thomas M. McDermott Jr. and the Mayor of Hammond. Good morning.
The liberal lunatic, according to the last caller.
You know what? I've known you.
I don't think I've ever been called liberal.
No, I actually, that what's so funny is that you're about as centrist as it gets, okay? And look, I know you, and I know you pretty well, and I know your views, and we've had plenty of discussions on a lot of things, and yeah, you're not a liberal lunatic. That's for darn sure. If anything, you're a populist.
Yeah, usually if I get attacked from the left, attacked from people in my own party, they usually try to call me a Republican. That's usually where they go.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like, you're a
right.
Republican.
I've been there.
I get that way more often than I get the liberal lunatic. But, you get them all when you're in public office for 20-something years. So.
Yeah, in fact, I
do your job, dang it, Tom. Do your job. Don't let me just sit here.
That's right.
Start attacking.
That's right.
Immediately.
I remember actually being down at the state Democratic convention and somebody saying, "You're just too conservative."
Yes.
And I was standing right next to you. I think you remember who it was.
I get it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, and I'm standing there, and it's like she just attacked you and said, "Oh, you're too conservative for us." It's like, so 845-1100 is the number to call. I've got to ask you this. So the internet and social media, which knows everything. Mm-hmm. Some guy yesterday named Lenny posted that there are new property taxes and a tax on your NIPSCO bills to pay for the Bears Stadium. Do you want to discount that one?
That's not true at all. There's not even a shred. The new taxes that'll be required if the Bears choose Hammond, new food and beverage tax in Lake County, new food and beverage tax in Porter County, innkeeper's tax doubles in Lake County, and an admissions tax that Hammond has to pass. So Hammond has to do the 12% admissions tax for people that buy tickets to the new venue. Lake County government's got to do the hotel motel tax, and they also have to do the food and beverage, and Porter County government's supposed to do the food and beverage.
So let's talk about those taxes for a
No,
minute.
nothing with NIPSCO.
No, because everybody and their brother, though, keeps on talking about taxes. Okay, so food and beverage taxes are becoming commonplace all over the United States. When I'm down in Florida, there's a food and beverage tax. When I go to Chicago, there's a food and beverage tax. When I go to the southern suburbs, there's a food and beverage tax. So they're pretty commonplace.
Yeah,
right?
you could avoid that tax. You just don't go out.
Right,
and
right.
eat.
But
you don't go to restaurants.
Most people just pay it.
It's 1%.
The hotel tax, 1%. The hotel tax. Name a city or a state in the United States that doesn't have a hotel tax.
And that's
Everybody
another
has it.
one that could be avoided. Don't stay in hotels.
Sure, you could sleep in your car. Yes.
I mean, why are we sleeping in hotels if we live here? So, that's another tax that could be avoided. The thing I like about how the state finances, Tom, is the people that are using the stadium are the ones going to be helping pay down the incentive package we gave to the Bears.
Right. And again, my point is that no matter where you go, you pay a hotel tax. And I'm not going to sleep in the car. And by the way, today is Donna's birthday, and Donna is not going to sleep in a car.
Nice.
Okay, so
that's good.
We're going to sleep in a hotel and pay the hotel tax.
Good.
And then the admissions tax, again, you've bought plenty of tickets over the years, so have I, to events. You buy Notre Dame football game tickets. You buy tickets to concerts. And Ticketmaster says, the price of the ticket is $150, and then you get the bill, and it's like $210 because they've tacked on all those admission taxes and all those other taxes. So, again, we're not talking about extraordinary taxes. We're talking about taxes that largely are going to be placed on the people that come here to visit the stadium.
True story. That's what I like about it. That's how they financed Lucas Oil Stadium down in Indianapolis. The same people that finance that stadium are in charge of government right now. Todd Houston being the primary architect. He's the Speaker of the House. And the way they financed a new Pacers stadium, Gainbridge, right?
Yes,
Gainbridge, yeah. Gainbridge. And then now the Hammond Stadium, they're financing the same way. It's the people that use it pay for it. It makes tons of sense to me.
And you look at Indianapolis and, where all the activity is. I mean, Circle Center never really worked out, but where the activity is that area to the east of Gainbridge where the old Coca-Cola bottling plant is, and the area around Lucas Oil Stadium. In fact,
Bottle Works, you're talking about.
Bottle Works, right. And I mean, I look at the development and the success of Lucas Oil Stadium. So I think you're aware of this long-time relationship that I've had with a client that actually owns the hotels that surround Lucas Oil Stadium.
Oh, nice.
I've worked with them for years. And look, people pay those dollars every time there's a game, every time there's an event. There's no equivocation. People don't say, well, I'm not going to go there because I have to pay this tax. It's like, yeah, you're going to pay the taxes. You're going to walk across the street. And when we're talking about building a stadium in Hammond, there's all the ancillary development that comes with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking
absolutely.
hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. Absolutely. There's going to be hotels that aren't there right now. There's going to be restaurants that aren't there right now. There's going to be parking garages that aren't there right now. There's going to be, sort of like what we see outside of Wrigley Field. The Bears want the same thing outside of this new field. So
what's really crazy is for me to think about the fact that in a few years there's the possibility of the Super Bowl actually being literally in my backyard.
Right.
That's insane. That's insane.
I'm more excited about the concerts that are going to come.
I'm
excited about Super Bowl too. Don't get me wrong.
So when Jed and I came on the air to announce the announcement from the city from the Chicago Bears about coming to Hammond, there was a caller and they said, "Are there going to be concerts?" And I said, "Well, I can guarantee that I know one female performer that the mayor would like to have."
I know, and that one drives Chuck pulling crazy. So I'm going to say it again. We build this thing, Taylor Swift's going to come to Hammond, and it's going to be the biggest day of my mayor administration. So that's probably the day I resign.
Yeah,
I get Taylor Swift to come to Hammond, it doesn't.
Let me just suggest, though, the life-size cutout, don't take that with you, okay? 845-1100, let's take some callers. Good morning, you're on the air.
Hey, can you guys hear me here?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah.
Hey, first mayor. That first caller is this California plant who doesn't even live here. He lives in Central California, and he just calls in asking Jed to give him a job. So let's clear that up. That guy's clueless here.
Yeah, and by the way, he also calls other radio talk shows outside of WJOB, and he uses the same.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, I've heard him.
Yeah, the guy's ridiculous.
Thank you.
Second, I have two questions for you, Mayor.
Sure.
Great job. You're awesome.
Thank
You keep hamming around. The one question is about the School City of Hammond here and those two buildings. I know earlier you mentioned on that they were kind of, I don't want to say they were ignoring you per se, but, they weren't giving you replies about the Gavin and Clark. So I'm going to just ask, for an update on that. And then my second question here is just more so about the bear, about like the possibility of the Bears here, what that timeline could look like. I know there's no shovels on the ground, and I know there's probably NDAs and stuff you have to sign, but just like the hypothetical timeline of how this would work until I think the lease expires in 2033. Mayor, great job. I'm going to hang up now. You're the man. Ignore that California plan, dude. You know how they are out there.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, so first question was
the Clark and
yeah. School City's completely blowing me off on that. We want them to come up with a plan on how they're going to demolish Clark, the old Clark High School and the old Gavitt High School. In fact, the old Gavitt High School has somebody that's interested in developing it right now, and that doesn't matter to School City because they're playing this charade that Gavitt High School may be reprioritized one day, and they're trying to get around a state law that requires them to offer that school to a charter school for $1. So what they're doing is they're acting like they're using that school, but there's no water to Gavitt High School. There's no power to Gavitt High School. It's a shell game that the School City of Hammond's playing on the residents to make you think that they're going to one day use it, and they're not. They're lying to you. The School City is.
And I might just jump in. Clark High School, I walk by it every single night with the dogs, and Don and I walked by last night, and she pointed out to me, she said it's just falling apart.
It is.
I mean, it's really falling apart.
It's a joke what the School City of Hammond's doing to the residents of the city. But the good news is the school board members that are playing this game on you are running for election this year. And I'm going to talk about this all summer long. I'm going to talk about it as it leads into November. I'm going to talk about it until they do something with these two schools. Because what they want, they're just going to leave them falling into disrepair. And then one day, we're going to find a dead body in one of the schools, just like we have in other schools, abandoned schools around the region. And I don't want Hammond to look like that, but the School City has no plan. They're lying to you. They're ignoring the mayor. We're calling for it to demolish the two high schools. I mean, they're not in use. Follow the law, School City Hammond, and they're not. So,
well, in fact, I'll just mention this because there's a fundraiser coming up Saturday for Ricky Strabavi.
Yeah.
Okay, and you know the Strabavi family very well. And as I'm walking by last night, I'm looking across the street and I'm thinking about the fact that Ricky has to look out at what was Clark High School. Right. It's falling apart across the street. He keeps his home. In spite of the fact that he was in the hospital for almost 500 days, his lawn is immaculate, his home is immaculate, and then he's got to look at that dump across the street.
It's ridiculous.
Totally
and we
ridiculous.
could do stuff with both properties. I could do stuff as mayor with both those properties. I have a developer interested in developing Gavitt right now, but the School City Hammond standing in the way. I have multiple developers talk to me about developing Clark High School. School City Hammond stands in the way. So it's being led by the president of the school board, and it's filtered through the entire school board. They're little minions for the school board president, Carlotta Blake King. And the fact is they have no plan, and they're lying to the residents of Hammond about what they're going to do with those schools, and they're lying to the state of Indiana and not following the law. So.
And then the question about the Bears. What can you say where we're at?
I think hopefully I just want the groundbreaking. I want the big press conference. I think we could do that hopefully within a month. I'm hoping.
Really?
Yeah, I'm hoping. We're doing a lot of due diligence on a new site right now, and I imagine it's going to come back clean because we have nothing but clean records on the new site, and we have pretty good records obviously in the city of Hammond. So if things check out like we think they will, we'll be hopefully doing a press conference in a month or so.
All right. You've probably heard this, but I hear it all the time. There's rumors going on in Robertsdale now that they're going to take out the old Clark Field right where you're building new homes. You want to address
untrue.
That one?
100. There will not be any residential takings as part of the Bears. I've said it numerous times. I'm going to keep saying it. Everything that the Bears are looking at is south of the pavilion. There's not one house that's in the footprint, not a single one.
Yeah.
I've said it continuously, and I'll keep on saying it. Not one house.
The guy that I'm holding out for hope is Ron Lubis, who's a good friend of mine, friend of yours as well. And Ron has the idea that if they come and they take his property with where LNS Electric is down by 131st, he's going to sell them air rights because he wants his seat on the 40-yard line.
Okay,
so there you go. 845-1100. We've got another caller. Good morning. You're on the air. Good morning. Good morning. You're on the air. Hello. Yeah, you can hear somebody, but all right, we'll continue on. So, there are so many rumors, and again, people.
I was going to say we do got a caller.
Oh, okay. Let's go back to the calls. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Okay, you said south of Wolf Lake and stuff.
No.
Okay, the Bears will come if they come, when they come. Okay, is it going to affect anything with people being around Wolf Lake to fish and sit around and do activities?
Nope.
And what's going to happen with the Festival of the Lakes like you have every year? When that comes, is that going to put a stop to that?
I don't know. It depends.
That's all I want to.
Okay, good question.
That's all I wanted to ask you. And you're doing a good job for the city because when I lived in my other city for many years, never had a street sweeper come down my street. This month, that thing's been down my 2 streets by where I live here. I don't know how many times.
Thank you, sir.
Your city workers and your city keeps the city's, where we live is so clean. I'm so proud to live in Hammond.
You're sweet. I appreciate it.
So
thank you, sir.
All right, thanks so much.
Okay, so will it affect fishing, recreating on Wolf Lake? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
All right, so
it will not affect recreation. It will not affect fishing. It will not affect swimming. It will not. Okay.
You'll still have the bike
It'll
path.
make it more competitive, probably.
You'll still have the bike path.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, no, because
Tom, I would kick my own butt if I got rid of the bike path. Okay?
I know.
You know me. I'm a cyclist, so
you're out there all the time.
Right.
But I had to ask that one for Donna.
I'm glad.
That's Donna's.
Let's put all this
path.
misinformation to rest, And then Festival of the Lakes, it really depends on the location they choose. Okay. If they choose a location that sits right where the Festival of Lakes is, that would make it difficult, right? But there's other locations they're looking at that would not impact the Festival of Lakes. So, that's as accurate as I can ask you. And then somebody asked about timeline-wise. I don't remember if it was the caller or the last caller. That's one of the areas I did sign a non-disclosure agreement. There's certain things I could talk about, and there's certain things I can't talk about. One of the things I can't talk about is timeline, because there's going to be a huge lawsuit filed by the city of Chicago. We're trying not to get Hammond involved in that lawsuit.
All right, Very good. 845-1100. We've got full phone lines. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you doing, Mayor?
Hi, sir. Thank you for calling.
Hey, thanks for being on. If you can talk about it, if and when the Bears come, will they still be able to keep the name Chicago Bears, or will it just be Hammond Bears? And that's something that hasn't been discussed yet.
No, thank you, sir. That's a great question. It's been discussed. The Chicago Bears are going to stay the Chicago Bears. Absolutely. There was never any discussion by Indiana officials or Hammond officials to have it otherwise, okay? Everybody that's involved in this negotiation is on the same exact page. It's going to be the Chicago Bears, even if they're playing in Hammond. All the stuff you see with Hammond Bears and Indiana Bears, that's probably not authorized. It's probably technically a violation of trademark laws, and people are just excited. And that's what you're seeing. That's nothing authorized by the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears are going to be the Chicago Bears, playing out of Hammond, Indiana.
And just to point out, Mayor, you're also an attorney, okay?
Yes, sir.
And so, you mentioned trademark law. It is the name of the team is the Chicago Bears.
For sure.
So that's a trademark name,
Yes, sir.
and they're not going to be able to this nonsense that I keep on reading on the internet that they won't be able to use the term Chicago. Yes, they will, because that's their trademark name.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Thanks for the call. We'll move on. Good morning. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Thanks for calling.
Hello. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, Mayor, I know Hammond and some other local cities already took a 1% food and beverage tax.
will those cities go up to a 2% or will they stay at 1%?
Great question. Yes, they will go to 2%. The cities that have a food and beverage tax. So Hammond, I believe Maryville, both have. And if
Maryville, yeah.
And if the county passes 1%, it doesn't take away from Hammond or Maryville that already have a food and beverage tax. That's a great question. I've never been asked that, sir. So thank you for asking. So, because Maryville and Hammond did work with their food and beverage tax, it's not like the state could come in and take away from that because there's been bonds floated for the work that they've done. So what they do is they add on to it in those two cases.
All right. So
okay,
is
that's what I
2%?
figured.
Is a 2% tax going to keep you from eating out?
No, I was just curious.
It's a good
just
question.
Wondering how it works.
That's
Sure.
how it works, sir. And I've never been asked that. That's a good question.
Hey, thanks so much. Thanks for the call. We'll move on. We have another caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Tom and Tom. This is actually for Mayor Tom McDermott. Tom, congratulations. You know what? You're a very popular man in Arizona. And when people bring up the work that you're doing, I tell them, I said, I know that guy. I know that mayor. He is a stand-up guy, and I'm telling you what.
Thanks, dude.
He will make it happen. He has done so much for Hammond. And, again, Mayor Tom and regular Tom Dabertin, you guys, you know what? You make me proud to say I'm from Hammond. I just want you guys to know
Steve.
that.
Miss you. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, Steve, in fact, yesterday
Hey,
said he's coming
I'm-
out this way in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
No, I'm leaving Friday. I'm leaving this Friday. I'm driving out, and I'm going to come up and say hi to you in your office if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Tom.
Absolutely. Please stop by, Steve.
I will stop by and see you guys. I'll play my guitar in the area. I'll let you guys know where I'm playing live as well.
Yeah, man. That's great. Great idea. You should try to stay for the fest. We got Jelly Roll playing, and it's going to be a good fest this year. So, Offspring.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try. I had a great time. I came in for the festival. It was awesome, and I was so lucky enough you threw one of the T-shirts out, and I actually wore it the other day. And when I was in Costco, somebody said, "Festival of the Lakes, that's Hammond, Indiana. Is that where the Bears are coming?" And we got into this great conversation. I said, "I'm going to tell you what. I personally know the mayor of Hammond, and if anybody can make it happen, he can. You've done so much for Hammond." And you know what? You've continued. You're not giving up. You keep striving, and you fight to make that a great place to live, and a great place to when you get a retirement from it, it's still good. And I'm always proud to call Hammond my home, and more than anything else, to call both of you guys my friends.
Thanks, Steve. I miss you, and I appreciate
Steve,
you.
Don't forget, next Wednesday, if you want to sit in, just come on by. Let me know. You've got my cell, so let me know. All right? Thanks so much for the call. You gonna move on?
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Steve.
We got to move on. We've got another caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Morning.
Since we are getting the Bears, Mayor Tom, are you going to make a run for the Chicago White Sox?
First off, I want to finalize this deal. I'd say I'm at 80% right now, but that's still 20% chance it doesn't happen. So we're not spiking the ball yet. We want to finish this deal up. I'm working real close with state government right now. Bears are working real hard on Hammond right now. I can tell you that firsthand. And, so it depends on the location that's chosen also, what kind of opportunity we'd have left, how much land would be left after the Bears took 350 acres from us. I'm not sure we'd have enough land. It depends on where they locate. But
let's just say this. There are other entities that are interested in moving to Hammond if the Bears come.
There's entities every day, Tom, that are interested in moving to Hammond,
and not just sports, but there are a lot. There's a lot of interest.
We have a crane company that's worth $30 million. We just finalized the deal on. They're moving to right there at 150th in Calumet.
Yeah, that's right. Because the plan commission, I'm on the plan commission, and we just approved
it's called
it.
AECOM. UECOM. So I think it's UECOM. It's based out of Alsip. It's a crane company, $30 million company, 100 plus jobs, well-paying jobs coming over. It's moving out of Alsip and moving to Hammond. This stuff happens often.
They're taking property that was the old Calumet transfer warehouse that burned down in 1970 that's been empty for years and years. I think the sanitary district owns part of it. There is a lot of excitement about Hammond, but my point is that in addition, you just had the development just the other night. We approved the development over here right at 165th and Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
The Chipotle and the...
that's a good one.
the coffee place. Can't
Right.
think of the name of it now.
Dutch Brothers.
But that's right, Dutch Brothers. But I mean, you're seeing a lot of development. But if you get the Bears, you're talking about just massive amounts of development.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, everyone's focused about the Bears. I didn't know nothing about those other two.
Yep, yeah, we're it's a steady migration of businesses leaving Illinois and coming to Indiana, and we're right on the border, so we see a lot of it here in Hammond. And obviously, the Bears is the biggest and the glitziest of them all.
But caller, I mean, take a look. Just as an example, drive down to 165th and Indianapolis and look at the Hudimaki plant. Okay, here was this little tiny plant for years and years. Now it's this massive development. There's all kinds of new interest over here. There's new interest throughout the city, and the mayor's right. I mean, there's a lot of interest in the city of Hammond.
No, that's good. And just keep up the good work. Just bring them good paying jobs over, and they'll keep coming.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks,
we have
caller.
more callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
Have a good one.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi. You know, as somebody who lives here in Robertsdale, you know, I'm for development. I always said we need more development in this area. This area is going to die. I was actually for the Calumet Airport, Lake Calumet Airport, and but you know, I've got to counterbalance that. There's a lot of feeling in the neighborhood here of quality of life. How's this going to affect the people here in Robertsdale and Whiting? And has anybody even addressed that? I haven't heard one thing about anybody talking about how this is going to affect us here in this neighborhood. I'd hate to see Robert Hammond get turned into Rosemont, Illinois. I'm all for development, but at the same time, we put up with this heavy industry here for years and years and got, you know, property tax abatement for that. That's all gone now. But you know, in a way, realize we have to actually have development here. But at the same time, there's a lot of feeling here in the neighborhood that of people that are really leery, and nobody's actually. I haven't heard one thing that's been addressed to the people here in the affected area and how that's going to affect them. Has anybody actually, you know, rolled this into the calculations of what we're doing here as far as quality of life? Are we going to maintain this, or are we just going to turn the whole thing into like Rosemont?
The thing, you know, first off, I represent every citizen in the city. That's why I'm elected mayor, and I'm also aware that anytime we propose anything, it's not going to have 100% support. So I'm not telling you that there's 100% support for this proposal. Of course, we analyze what impacts it's going to have on the neighborhood, and I'd like to point out, sir, that, you know, all due respect, you don't really know where the stadium's going, if it even comes here, and I do, but I can't talk about it. And everything most people are reading and analyzing is total speculation, okay? So, like, there's only probably a dozen people that know where the possible stadium's going to fall, okay? And I'm one of those dozen people. So, like, I would wait until the full plan comes out, sir. And then once you see the full plan, there's going to be plenty of opportunity to debate it. I'm going to be in your neighborhood often talking about this proposal. And quite frankly, if I'm wrong, I'm betting with my job because I'm up for election in 1 year, less than 1 year. And if I'm wrong on this, I pay with my job, which is how it's supposed to work in democracy.
Yeah, and let me just add, I mean, obviously, you and I have talked before, and you know my commitment to Robertsdale and Whiting. But the fact is that not everybody's going to like everything that happens, okay? And there were people that moved away. There have been people that moved away over the years out of Whiting, Robertsdale for all kinds of things. I know one person who moved away because they didn't like Pierogi Fest, okay? So there's always going to be some people that don't like it, but I think for the majority, and from what I understand, I think there are plenty of steps being taken to minimize the impact on Whiting, Robertsdale. I'll just say that. There's a lot of positive impact, but the negative impacts will be minimized.
You know, by and large, I do support this thing. I like I say, I've been saying for decades we need development here, and we do. And that could be a real game changer for Northwest Indiana as a whole. I realize that. It's just that it seemed like I haven't heard one thing that to address quality of life in this area, not just Hammond. I mean, you know, East Chicago, Highland, it's going to, and if this thing goes through the way some people are talking about it, it's going to be a real major change for this area. And I sort of think of the northwest suburbs of Chicago, how development, a place like Rosemont.
I agree with you. I think that's a real good example you brought up, Rosemont. And I realized, I don't know if that helps or hurts my argument, but Rosemont sort of blew up out of nowhere out there. All of a sudden there's top end restaurants and all these attractions. That's definitely a possibility for the Robertsdale section of our city. And some people are going to think that's a positive addition to the quality of life, and some people are going to move away because they don't like this whole idea, like Tom said. And I understand that. But if they do move away, they're going to be moving away with a home that's worth much more than it is today. It probably appreciates 20% once this announcement's made, if not more.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
if you're selling your house in Robertsdale, you're selling your house at a higher profit than you were going to.
Hey, appreciate the call, but we've got 3 more callers, so we've got to move on. Okay. Thanks so much. 845-1100. We've got additional callers. Good morning. You're on the air. We can't understand you, sir.
I said, good morning, Mayor Tom. Bill from Lowell.
Hey, Bill from Lowell. Long time no talk.
Yeah.
One of my former residents.
Yeah, I'll be seeing you out there for Jelly Roll, man. As soon
Thank
as
you.
those tickets came up, as soon as that was announced, I did the VIP.
Good for you, because they sold out.
Look forward to seeing you, sir.
Yes, sir. Come up and say hi.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
I got it right away. I will. I got the missus with me. I just want to say, if that works out for you with Hammond, Rosemont really ain't that bad of an area. I enjoy Rosemont.
I enjoy Rosemont also.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's awesome out there, man. I mean, if we fly to O'Hare, I'll make a night out of it and go visit Rosemont before we get to the airport.
I agree with you. I think Rosemont. I think I was a real good example that last caller brought up. It could be like a Rosemont type of area, just sort of blows up, and some people think that's great, and some people probably hate it. And the ones that don't like it will sell their house for 20-25% appreciation, and they'll move to another part of Northwest Indiana, hopefully staying in Hammond. But I think that was a real good example.
Yeah. Hey, I was going to actually call your office. This probably ain't the place for it, but you guys are leaving a lot of money sitting out there as far as truck enforcement in your area. I was going to call you or email you and let you know about it. You guys are sitting on a boatload of money. I don't know that you even have. Do you even have truck enforcement?
Oh yeah.
In Hammond.
Oh yeah. Our traffic division. That's basically what they do. Our traffic division pulls over semis that drive off the routes.
Yeah. And is anybody enforcing your city oversized load permits?
I
get them.
I couldn't tell you personally, but I can tell you that I have a whole section of the patrol department that all they do is traffic enforcement, and semis are a big burden for us here. So I know that they focus a lot on semis.
Yeah, especially the motorcycle units. You see them pulling over semis all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if this Bear Stadium shows up, it's something you might want to look into, Tom.
Yes, sir.
Because I got pulled over the other day. And I crossed my T's, dot my I's with the traffic enforcement for weights and stuff, permits.
Mm-hmm.
I got pulled over, and I had to have 2 county permits. As soon as I crossed the line, they pulled me over. And it would have been, I know you're sitting down, a $25,000 fine if I wouldn't have had that permit.
Good job having the permit.
And yeah, and that's the stuff that you got to have the permits in hand, and if you don't, you got to pay the fine before you're allowed to even move.
Wow.
So you guys might be sitting on a boatload of money coming up soon. I mean, I crossed my T's and dot my I's, Mayor
Good job,
Tom,
Bill.
but it's something I don't know if you were aware of, sir.
Thank you.
Hey,
I appreciate
Bill, thanks
the call.
for the call. Thanks so much.
Both you Toms have a good day.
Thank
all
you,
right,
sir.
take care.
Good to see you, Bill.
845-1100. We've got more callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, sorry for the scratchy voice, but is the location, when you mention multiple locations, is it all right orientated in the same area, just south of Wolf Lake and to the east?
Yep, right in that area.
So regardless, it's going to be somewhere straddling Calumet Avenue, Wolf Lake, south of the golf course, right?
Yep.
Same place, right?
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Okay, one more question. If it's transparent, why is there such a secret on what part of this they're going to pick? Because there's not that much land there to use to, you can't move this thing like 10,000 yards one way or the other. So it's basically right there, north of the toll road, south of the lake, right?
I don't know why they asked me to sign non-disclosure agreements, but they did. I had to sign it. My whole staff had to sign it. We're privy to confidential information, and if this information gets out publicly, it could drive up the price of the land. It could cause a lot of problems for this development. So I know the state officials signed it. The Bears, I don't think the Bears had to sign it because it's their project, but I know for a fact we all had to. My entire team that's privy to this information.
Man, Mac, it is what it is. I mean, look, if you're astute enough to know the area and you pull out some maps, it's not that hard to figure out. Okay,
I
mean, it
guarantee
really
you.
isn't.
I agree with you on that. It's really not.
Well, I was just making sure because, the talk made it sound like, it might be going on Hammond Gabbett or something. I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
No.
There's only one place in Hammond you can put it.
If they put
And
it
by
that
the
far,
way,
Mad Mac, going with what you just said, is I think what I'd love to think that the Bears chose Hammond because of the great mayor and great business environment. But I think
are you kidding yourself?
But I think one of the big reasons that Bears chose Hammond is because we're 20 minutes away from Soldier Field. And if I changed it to Hammond Gabbett, for instance, first off, the infrastructure is not there for it. But secondly, that would add another 15 minutes from Soldier Field, and that's not interesting to the Bears. And that goes for Gary and Portage and all the other municipalities that put in proposals. The Bears want to be as close to Chicago as possible, and Hammond is the closest you could be. So,
hey, and if you get this, will you get Burley a VIP seat right on the sidelines so she can cry her eyeballs out in every home game?
I remember her talking early on that this was a total joke, that the Bears were using Hammond, they would never do that. And
you stole it from Gary,
and that's totally false. Also, that's completely false.
Gary
was being,
you spied on him, you're racist, you're this, you're that, the other.
Right.
Hey, when are you gonna get your big ass out on the? When are you gonna get your big ass out on the pickleball court?
I'm training.
I've already crushed Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
I play with his wife a lot.
Yeah.
And we need you out there.
I know.
I need some victories.
I'm not a pickler. I'm a triathlete. I'm training for the Chicago Triathlon right now. But I could come out there though. I mean, I could play. It's not like I'm in bad shape. So.
I'll give you credit for the weight loss. Good luck with the Bears, Mike.
All right. Thanks so much for the call. 845-1100 is the number to call. We've got more callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Tom and Tom.
Hey.
Tom and Tom.
How's it going, caller?
Hey, well, I understand they have the Bears coming out. Hey, what's your outlook on somebody bringing a data center into Hammond?
What do you mean? We already have a data center.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Norm, the old State Line generating plant, actually, they're putting a huge addition on. So they've got one there, and they're adding
that's
a second
proposed right now. We have one there, and then there's a proposal that if it falls apart on June 30th, the proposal dies. And I think it's a decent possibility that the proposal falls apart. I don't really get warm and fuzzies that they're going to make it happen before June 30th. And at that point, that proposal dies. We're not going to talk about it again. So, but yeah, we already have a data center. Hammond built the first data center in Indiana.
Didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks. 845-1100, got a couple more calls, and then the mayor's got to exit. So, good morning. You're on the air.
I have a question, but I just want to note that I did my student teaching science at Clark High School, and it was very impressive high school, a lot of really smart students, and my supervising teacher was Wanda Wilharm, and they're the Clark alums. To hear her name, their toes are twisting.
It's a name well known by Clark alumni. You're right.
Very very tough, old school, and she taught me a thing or two about being wary of the long arm of the federal government, because she was very opposed to taking money from the feds, because she said to me, now it's easy, but eventually they'll be telling us how to run the schools. But in any case, to the Bears stadium, will there be any opportunity for Indiana businesses to have a restaurant site at the stadium, or is that all tied in with Chicago interests?
Thank you. Good question. The 300 acres, 300 or so acres will be controlled by the state. Okay. Make no bones about it. The state, it'll be like an extension of the state government, sort of like Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis is an extension of the state. It'll be run by a board, the Stadium Authority. I will have an appointment to that board, but it'll be controlled by the governor. All right, so state's going to get paid back. Now, so the 300 acres that the stadium sits in is going to be tightly controlled by the state. There will be hotels, there will be parking facilities, there will be retail in that area. Outside of that 300 acres is still the city of Hammond, and we expect a high amount of demand outside of that 300 acres as well for hotels and restaurants and things of that nature to support the stadium. So, make no bones about it, Walt. They're spending $1.5 billion or so to lure the Bears to Indiana, and the state of Indiana wants to get paid back. And that was made clear and from the moment I learned about this project.
Yeah, I would just say this, Walt, and again, I have no privileged information, but I would say that the whole area, the three different sites that are being proposed, that if they choose Site A, Site B, and C are available for all that ancillary development.
For sure.
So that whole area south of Wolf Lake basically is going to get developed one way or the other if the Bears move in that location.
Well, I hope for the residents of that part of the city that if the Bears Stadium comes, that not too many will be adversely affected. But looking into Chicago with they're ready to open up the Obama presidential center and so forth, the local people, the people from that neighborhood are increasingly complaining about the impact it has in terms of taxes and rents and so forth. Not everybody's happy about that thing over there, and a big development of any kind is going to have, I think, unexpected impacts, but that's just my opinion.
All right. Hey, thanks, Walt.
If I was required to get 100% support for this project, it would be really hard. But thankfully, I get elected on 51% of the vote, and I think if my gut tells me this is in Hammond, 75-25.
Tell me one thing you've done in 20-some years that you got 100% support on.
How about College Bound was pretty close.
Pretty close, but there were
still people. Right.
Yeah, I mean,
thank you. College Bound was pretty close. That was like
College Bound was close.
It was like wildfire across the city.
And you know what? When I graduated, I was like, you know what? And thank you, McDermott, paying for my college.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Adriana.
you. That was great.
It makes me happy. I mean, seeing all these graduates that may not have been able to go to college, it's a great program.
It's a great
one of the best things I've done, probably.
Absolutely, but that's probably the closest. And there were still that
you still got 25% of people banging on it.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So you can't win no matter what you do. We have more callers.
One more.
Okay, one more caller, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Sure.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you?
Hi. How you doing, caller?
I am well. I just wanted to tip my hat to the mayor for the Chicago Bears thing that's going on here. I moved to Hammond when I was 7 years old. I went to Bishop Knoll. I run 3 companies in Hammond right now.
Thank you.
And I think this is excellent. It is going to adversely affect my company. And I'm still for this. I think this is great for the city of Hammond.
Thank you, sir.
And it's people. It's bigger than just one person individually, or a group of people. This is something for the future of Hammond, and I think that that's something that people are forgetting. Everybody's worried about what about me, and you know what? It should be what about me, but it's also what about the future of this town? What are we leaving for the future generations? And there's going to be a lot of good that comes out of this, and I just wanted to say, Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that call very much.
Hey, thanks so much. Mayor, thanks for coming in this
Tom.
morning.
It's good to see you.
Great to have you.
Believe me, I'm glad you called this week to ask me to come on, because I've been doing all these national and Chicago, and I'm doing all
Indiana.
I'm
sitting there, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, where the hell is...
Well, you're the first one from JOB that asked.
Well,
you reached out, and I said, sure.
Well, we've known each other for a long time.
It's my hometown station. And I'm doing all these other stations, You
and I've talked about this before, and I will take responsibility for it, but I'll work out with your staff that, it'd be great if we had you on like every 6 weeks or so.
Sure.
Just come on and
me.
talk because, look, you're a natural. And it's just great to have you come on. You don't screen calls. We don't screen calls.
I love taking calls.
Just take everybody.
I love taking calls. Except for that guy before I came on. I didn't like that. I didn't take that call, but I didn't like that guy from California.
And by the way, I've got to thank you on the air, although Donna probably is not going to agree with this. Like you said, nobody agrees 100% of the time. But you've got a you've got a tribute band for Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh yeah, this weekend.
And yes, and if you remember when we went to China, you had some fun with my phone because I have 30 different versions of Sounds of Silence. So I'm really excited about that this weekend.
It's gonna be a good time this weekend. The Pavilion Summer Concert Series started up on Saturdays, so it's free parking, it's free entry, free everything. So you just come out and watch music.
We'll have you on again in a couple of weeks, and great to have you here this morning. Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody. It's nice talking to you. Thanks, Adriana.
We'll be right back.
It's gold rush time at Albert's. Oh, looky here. Oh, those are going to fetch a pretty penny.
But who's going to buy them from us?
I'll buy that gold from you.
What did you say?
I said I'll buy that gold from you, and I'll give you top dollar.
That sounds great.
It's gold rush time. We will see you at Albert's.
Life's biggest challenges don't come with a warning. When legal issues arise, whether it's a car accident, personal injury, criminal charge, or representing you before municipal boards, you need a trusted advocate on your side. At Westland & Bennett, we listen first because your story matters. We provide strategic, personalized legal solutions to protect your rights, your freedom, and your future. Peace of mind starts with a conversation. Call 219-440-7550 today for a free consultation.
Fox Point's free summer Wednesday night concert series kicks off June 3rd with 16 candles. As June heats up, dance to Rico, Boy Band Night, and the Chicago Experience. Then join us for our first free Friday Night Lights concert featuring Fearless, a Taylor Swift tribute, and Beyond the Blonde on June 26th. Fox Point in Lansing, Illinois is just minutes from I-8094 and parking is free. Visit foxpoint.org for our full schedule. That's point with an E, foxpoint.org.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad. Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention.
Phones. I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Hey Region, I'm T, and I grew up in East Chicago, went to college in Gary, worked out of Munster, and raised my family in Crown Point. I'm Region to the core. I created Region Hot Sauce, the flavor of the region. Added to chicken, fish, pizza, eggs, and more for the perfect blend of heat and flavor. Visit RegionHotSauce.com for a complete list of locations or to order direct. Region Hot Sauce, the flavor of the region.
Before Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, we were being charged various maintenance fees and various check writing fees for all of our accounts. And with Notre Dame, we don't have that. We have that true community partnership. We get interest based on all of our parish and school accounts, and the interest rate is really second to none.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad. Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention.
Phones. I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Labor's District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
From June 26th through 28th, Central Park in Griffith will host the Country Music Tribute Festival, featuring tribute performances inspired by artists such as Johnny Cash, George Strait, Morgan Wallen, Carrie Underwood, Tim McGraw, and more. The event invites families to enjoy on-site food and drinks on the lawn, with fireworks planned for Friday and Saturday nights. Best of all, admission is free. Don't miss out.
All right, we're back, and John Daugherty. Hey, it's great to have you here.
It's good to be here.
I get to do interviews with you twice a month, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's great.
And it was fun to have the mayor here again.
Yeah,
I want to thank Mayor
a lot of
Thomas
good information
McDermott.
from the
mayor.
mayor.
Yeah, a lot of great information, and a lot of fun to have him on. But it's always fun to have you as well. And I just want to throw this out because you will recognize the name, but Ricky Strabavi.
Yeah.
The Strabavi family.
Yeah.
Just want to remind people there's a fundraiser this Saturday for him, starting at 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. at the Whiting Knights of Columbus Hall, 119th Street and Atchison Avenue. Ricky's a great guy, a.k.a. Bundy, and a bunch of other nicknames on top of everything else. But the fundraiser is for him. He spent 495 days in the hospital and then rehab, and we really need your support. So don't forget that fundraiser. With that, great to have you here.
Yeah, good to be here. Beautiful day in the region. The Bears are coming.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's more and more likely. I really do. I think that when you hear the mayor and hear the excitement, and look, I know Tom McDermott pretty well, and I think he's a pragmatist. Okay, he looks at things, and when he says that he believes it's an 80% chance, I would put money on that it's an 80% chance at this point.
Oh, I agree with him.
I mean,
he knows far better than I. So.
I
have said all along that there was a better chance than the general public perception was. I thought it was a no-brainer from the start.
Well, one thing's for sure. He's not going to risk his reputation. Look, he doesn't have to worry about getting reelected. He's going to get reelected. But it's his reputation, okay? So for him to go out there and go out on a limb and say, I think it's an 80% chance, tells you that it's really likely because – again, knowing him, I just don't believe that he's just going to go out there and make a totally fictitious claim.
I don't know why any Illinois business that's near the border wouldn't want to come over to Indiana.
Well, you mentioned this crane company. Yeah. So I'm on the Hammond Plan Commission. He appointed me. And a month ago, lo and behold, the old Calumet Transfer Plant facility right across from the old Spone Middle School on Calumet burned down when we were kids, like 1970, somewhere around there. They're building a brand new facility there, and they're putting up tens of millions of dollars into Hammond. You've got right down here in the corner, 165th and Indianapolis Boulevard, is the old Petros is going to become a Chipotle and a Dutch Brothers coffee. I mean, there is development, there's interest, and if you get the Bears, it's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
It's just phenomenal. And you talk sports medicine. I mean, think about the opportunity for Northwest Indiana. We could actually be a leader for sports medicine.
Oh, we could. If and when the Bears come to Northwest Indiana, somebody else is going to come to Northwest Indiana, the NFL, and they'll be calling it St. Catherine Hospital or Community Hospital to understand what's available to the NFL, particularly to visiting teams.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of what the NFL does.
Yeah, they're going to want to know exactly what's available, and it's a transformation for anything and everything. It really is.
Yeah.
So you always have a topic. Let's start with your topic.
This week I wrote mainly about Christian. Eric Christensen, the soccer player from Denmark who dropped dead again on the field. He dropped dead on the field this time on June 7th. He already had an implantable defibrillator in his chest that was put there from the previous time he dropped dead. And the question is, should he play again?
Well, that was exactly what I was going to ask. I mean, first off, if you have an implant like that, how wise is it to play it to begin with?
Well, the interesting thing that he said and has been saying is, I have this ICD in my chest. I'm protected. Yes, he's protected, but only to a point. Sometimes, even if the ICD should work, they work. It will fire when you have a arrhythmia in your heart that demands that the unit will fire. They very rarely, if ever, malfunction. But even if it functions properly, it doesn't mean your heart's going to restart. So he was protected far better than not having it in his chest. But it's no guarantee. And this is a guy who's 34 years old. He's got a longtime girlfriend, and they have two very young children together. So how much longer does he really want to play? And because clearly the triggering event, as Dr. Patel said in my column, is playing soccer. So even though you have the ICD in your chest, you should probably try to avoid triggering what you have identified as a triggering event.
All right, so I want to expand this question, this topic to, I think, a question that a lot of people, including myself, have often wondered. You have an implant, in this case, the ICD, a permanent heart monitor is another common one. There are lots of different pacemakers.
Yeah, and this ICD that he has almost certainly has a pacemaker as part of it.
So how much danger is there? I mean, here he's playing soccer, and the ball gets kicked at 60 miles an hour, and it hits him. I mean, people who have these types of implants, how much danger is there for them to take a direct hit, say, in his case, from a soccer ball, or just somebody falling or getting hit by their dog or whatever?
Relatively minimal. Yeah, that risk is minimal.
Okay.
It's put in just under the skin, beneath your collarbone. The collarbone gives it a level of protection, and he's probably at more risk of getting hit directly in the chest instead of and having commotio cordis, where, like happened with Hamlin with the Bills. He's more at risk of that than getting hit in the ICD and that malfunctioning.
Okay, so it's not the device; it's the actual. It's just the hit, like you said with Hamlin.
Yeah,
you take the hit. That's the danger.
Risk. Yeah. And it's because of things that could happen, like what happened to Damar Hamlin. That's why the NFL will come calling at St. Catherine and at Community.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'll want to know that they can bring somebody there in a hurry, and their life's going to be saved.
Well, I've been open about this. I have a enlarged aorta, and they've talked over the years about putting different implants in to monitor. And one of the concerns I always had was, well, what happens if the dog or something hits me in the chest? There's really no danger.
No.
Yeah. So again, soccer has, on the other hand, soccer has kind of taken over the nation. I mean, it's amazing.
It certainly has taken over Boston, and I was there last weekend for the Tartan Army.
Really?
Yes.
So did you do your share of depleting the beer supply in Boston? Because they're claiming they're out of beer.
I was at a P.F. Chang's right off the Boston Common, and a large crowd from the Tartan Army came into the restaurant, came into P.F. Chang's, and most people go to P.F. Chang's for Chinese food. These guys came in and just kept ordering the Sapporos, and they kept ordering these giant Sapporos. And I pointed it out to my wife, Sue. Look at these guys, and it's downing these Sapporos.
You know what? To me, it's fascinating the amount of interest and the reaction that all these foreigners are having to the United States. I mean, you see interview after interview. They come here. They're amazed by the United States. They're at times almost appalled. I saw one interview where I think he was from Australia. No, it wasn't Australia. He was from somewhere in Europe, and they went into a Costco or into a Walmart, and he couldn't believe the size of the bottles and the servings.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing, and Adriana, I'm going to put you on the spot. So the other thing about the soccer tournament is there is a tremendous amount of reports that women are actually going to these tournaments to find their significant other. I mean, okay.
That's so funny.
Would you really seriously consider going to a soccer tournament to find your future significant other? I mean, that to me is a little crazy. But.
No, because at that point, whoever you have your eyes set on, you're gonna see them go up to their significant other that's there already supporting them at the game and be like, out of luck. And you're gonna see that more often.
Yeah,
so it's like,
you'd
no,
think
there's
that
no point.
if they came, a couple thousand miles, they're coming to the United States. They're most likely not coming totally by themselves.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's like, and you're not going to bother competing. I mean, you don't have to.
I'm good.
Yeah, so it just.
But I will say, I think there's one certain soccer player that people are making, like they see them in the social medias and they're like, dang, his wife pays that bodyguard very well.
Well, do you want to say which one that is?
I don't know which one it is. It's either Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, one of the two.
Okay,
one of the two very well-known ones.
All right. So, again, soccer has taken over the nation. Just have to throw this out, folks. John, I'm shocked, but the White Sox are actually doing pretty well.
Playing better than the Cubs.
Yeah, which is, it's almost.
Who would have thought it at the start of the season?
Not me.
Yeah, exactly.
Not me. I mean, I think Jeff Smith was on yesterday with me, and we didn't get into it, but I think I went into Frankie V's in early April, and Jeff looked at me and he goes, "How are the White Sox?" And he kind of chuckled, and I said, "Oh, don't even bother. Forget it." Mark Tharp from the Hammond Police Department is another White Sox fan. And, we're both kind of like, yeah, we'll just not tell people we're White Sox fans this year. And all of a sudden, they're doing pretty well.
I thought they would be better than they were the last 2 years. I thought they
We can't get any worse.
Yeah, they weren't going to lose 100 this year.
Yeah, you can't get any worse.
Because they have really good young talent. And most of that young talent they mined from the Red Sox. When the White Sox gave up Garrett Crochet, the Red Sox sent a bunch of young talent that's paying off for the White Sox now.
Yeah, and every so often, I mean, it worked out before for him, where some young talent unknowns, and all of a sudden you have a team. So that's a shocker. And then I have to bring up the WNBA.
Yeah,
watched the game the other night. Was amazing. 113 points, highest regular scoring season game in Indiana Fever history. It looks like the team's beginning to finally gel.
Yeah, look like they're gelling. Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing well. They're kind of finding their niche, so to speak, and the defense is a whole lot better. They're not giving up as much. One thing that's shocking me are the number of turnovers Caitlin Clark is giving up.
She's playing against better talent now than she ever played against concentrated talent than she ever played against at Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, she's throwing the ball, and she's forgetting that, you're right, she's playing against WNBA players. These are professionals.
Right.
And so some of those passes that she tries to sneak in don't work.
Right.
And they're getting deflected, or they're getting they're resulting in a turnover, and that's problematic. But she's...
It's like the jump a quarterback makes to the NFL from college. A quarterback might see one NFL caliber. A college quarterback will see one NFL quarterback, corner or safety per game. In an NFL game, there are 4 NFL quality defensive backs back there.
Again, the team is stacked. It's people like, look, everybody talks about Caitlin Clark, and they talk about Sophie Cunningham, and they talk about Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull and Aaliyah Boston. But you start looking at people like Timpson, Hines Allen. They're actually starting to play. They're starting to play some real ball, and it could be a very formidable team. And then I've got to ask you, because we've talked about this before, but what about the college football championship?
Are they going to go to 16 teams or 24?
That's the question.
That's the question. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't see any point in going beyond 16, because. If they go to 24, the bowl games are done. I mean,
they're finished.
Yeah, they're finished. And even if they go to 16, let's be honest, in a given year, so far from what I've seen, there's been never more than 8 or 9 teams that are good enough to win the championship.
Yeah, I get it. You want to bring along all those other teams, but there's a first tier and a second tier when it comes to college football, and a third tier and a fourth tier. But first and second tier, I mean, there's a huge difference. And when you get into the playoffs, it should basically be like you said. There's 8 or 9. There are really 8 or 9.
If you have an 8-team playoff, somebody's going to get left out.
Right.
If you have a 16-team playoff, nobody who's good enough to win it is going to get left out. You're actually going to end up with 5 or 6 teams that really don't belong there.
So there's a continuing controversy between the SEC and the Big Ten.
And I don't get it. I don't know why they can't come together and figure this out.
I can't either because...
And the SEC says, well, we're just going to go off on our own. Well, that's not going to work either.
No, and if you look at college football, I mean, with the exception of a few independents like Notre Dame, the competition is the Big Ten and the SEC.
Right.
So it's like, why can't you two work together?
Right.
I mean, they play each other all the time. They're the dominant. They're clearly the dominant forces. Again, with the exception of Notre Dame, they're the dominant forces in college football.
They are, and lately it's been the Big Ten has been driving the bus more so than the SEC lately.
Well, the Big Ten, of course, the expansion helped them years ago. I mean, they expanded and they picked up.
And now they can play. They can pay players legally. There's probably some SEC fans out there that are going to be upset with me when I say this, but the SEC had an edge because they were paying their players when it was not legal.
Do you mean to tell me that you believe that they were paying players at Alabama all those years? Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, look, Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M,
Tennessee,
LSU,
South Carolina.
Yep. You know what? I remember when the kids were very young.
I have firsthand knowledge. Well, they were paying them.
We ventured down to Gatlinburg in the fall, and Tennessee was playing, I think, Georgia. And oh my God, I mean, it was an experience like no other. I mean, there were those Tennessee fans. Wow, just get out of their way.
One of the worst experiences of my life, being on a Notre Dame sideline in General Nyland Stadium my junior year, and they pounded us. And their fans pelted our sideline with candy and ice and cups the entire game.
Yeah, they're rabid fans, no doubt about it. But so again, you have the same opinion that the SEC saying they're going to go it alone is a waste of time. It's a waste of it's an idle threat.
I could see the 4 big conferences separating from the NCAA, but you would need that volume of teams to make a go of it. You just can't do it with 18 teams.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So we also talk about sports medicine, and we're getting, we're still not there. Next month we'll be much closer to talking about conditioning for football and the start of high school football season.
Well, those kids are lifting weights and going to. They're doing like summer 7-on-7 leagues now,
right?
And they're even having scrimmages now. So,
but it's usually. And I hate to bring this up. My son played football, and I was very fortunate. He was a good athlete, and we didn't have to worry about it. But you just worry about kids in the summer going out and overexerting themselves and also succumbing to heat exhaustion when it comes to football.
Well, the thing about heat illness in football is these heat illness events where kids end up in the hospital or worse, they only happen in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Right.
And almost always, they only happen to linemen. And if football teams in practice, particularly in the heat, train their linemen to be linemen and not try to train them to be running backs, they wouldn't have any of these issues.
So I was in Ace Hardware in Whiting a couple weeks back, and somebody said to me, do me a favor, ask that John Doherty this question. Okay? That John Doherty. So you're that John Doherty. So ask him, does he believe that part of the problem is that kids this day and age spend so much time in air conditioning?
Absolutely. Yes.
There it is.
Yeah. That's part of the problem.
I mean, he brought it up. Look, he played football when we were in high school, and he said, Tom, I never had the problem adjusting to the heat that kids today do because my family didn't have air conditioning. My dad had an air conditioner in his room.
Right.
And basically we'd sneak in there when he was at work. Otherwise, we didn't get air conditioning. And he said that he believed was a problem.
That is part of the problem, no question. We as a population in general are not heat acclimated like our forebears were.
And so that brings up an issue that I think anybody, whether you're an athlete or just a regular listener, we're coming up on the 4th of July. We're coming up on festivals. We're coming up on all those kinds of things. The people that go to those events also have to adjust and acclimate themselves to being outside.
They do, and they need to be well hydrated when they need to be hydrated ahead of time. The problem we find, again, going back to football players, is about 75% of high school football players show up to practice dehydrated. And that would extend to the general public. I would say most people go to a festival or a concert that's outside in the heat. They show up dehydrated. Now, at a festival or a concert, now the other issue is they're not just drinking water and Gatorade to try to get rehydrated. Unfortunately, they're drinking beer. Talking about our Scottish friends in Boston, but drinking beer in the heat is not going to rehydrate you. It's going to dehydrate you.
So for the average person, 4th of July parade's coming up, for example, in Whiting and Munster and Crown Point.
Yeah, great parade.
And every year there are calls for emergency services because somebody passes out.
Because people our age.
Right. But they need to adjust. They actually need to start taking in that extra water, those extra fluids, a couple days before.
That helps a little bit, but the most important thing is what they drink in like the 2 hours before they go out.
Yeah, don't drink a great big cup of coffee, hot coffee,
and don't be drinking colas or any other beverages that have high caffeine, or don't be drinking an energy drink. Don't be drinking anything with alcohol in it. You should be drinking water, fruit juice, Gatorade, eating fruit, eating yogurt where you get plenty of fluid from. But those are the things to do before you go out to an event. And the unfortunate thing is as we age, we don't notice it. But people that are, once you get into your 60s, and certainly beyond your 60s, you're much more sensitive to the heat.
So, look, I've always pointed out to people, eat bananas, for example. Oranges are another one, but they're high in potassium and it's good for you. Yeah. Keeps you from cramping up. But you need to get that hydration in.
And you need to get your electrolytes. Not only do you need potassium, but you need a little bit. I'm not telling to overwhelm yourself because we know the issues with blood pressure and salt. But when you're going to go out into the heat for an extended period of time, you do want enough salt on board. So drink a sports drink like Gatorade.
And for what it's worth, just explain again why caffeine is a problem.
Caffeine's a diuretic. It makes you urinate. So one Coca-Cola, is that going to cause you a net loss in fluid? No. But you drink a couple of Coca-Colas or Pepsis, or if you throw in an energy drink, now you're going to have a net loss of fluid. Even though you drank something, the caffeine is going to stimulate your kidneys to produce more urine than fluid you took in.
And there you go. The other concern or consideration this time of year is it's not just the heat, it's the humidity. Okay, yeah. And explain how humidity actually affects the body.
Well, the issue with humidity is our bodies cool themselves by sweating, and then your sweat evaporates, and the process of evaporation causes your body to cool. When the humidity is high, there's no place for the sweat on your skin to evaporate to. So the sweat stays on your skin, so your body can't cool itself nearly as it can't cool itself at all once that humidity gets up into the 80% range.
Again, I chaired Pierogi Fest for all those years, and every single year we'd had people pass out during the festival, and it wasn't just because they saw me in my coconut bra and grass skirt. They passed out. They passed out because, once again, they weren't prepared.
Right.
And
they probably passed out because once they got there, they started drinking a little too much alcohol.
Yes, and they probably did see me in the coconut bra and grass skirt.
Yeah, that would be the coup de grace.
Yeah, that would be dangerous. The other question, and I'm just going to throw this out. I saw Donald Trump the other day on television. In fact, it was yesterday, and he looked very tired, very worn out. He's 80 years old.
He's 80 years old.
But he doesn't seem to be showing any signs of slowing down. I mean, he's fairly sharp. I don't, I don't know if you have a feeling on it, but
we shouldn't have 80-year-old presidents.
No, we shouldn't.
From either party.
I agree with that. Regardless of who he is, what he is, we shouldn't have 80-year-old presidents, because trying to make those kinds of decisions that basically have the rest of the world in the balance. Yeah, I don't think that's the case. But you look at a guy like Trump, and when you listen to him talk, he says that his secret to his viability, so to speak, is the fact that he pushes himself so hard. Is there any truth to people who, as they're older, pushing themselves keeps them very alert, very sharp, very capable?
Yes, but you have to be careful how hard you push yourself. It's important to stay engaged, both mentally and physically. And actually, there's ample data out there that shows exercising, if you exercise on a daily basis, and it's important that you do both aerobic exercise and strength training. You need to do both. You can't do one without the other. Not only does aerobic exercise and strength training strengthen your body, your heart, your muscles, etc., it strengthens your brain. And staying engaged and having a purpose strengthens your brain.
Yeah, and my son, is always on me about weightlifting and, just doing those kinds of. He says, look, you don't have to weightlift like you did when you were in your 20s. You need to weightlift though, basically to make sure that the bone density and the muscles are there to keep you from having a serious injury.
Right, exactly right. As we age, we experience something called sarcopenia, where we naturally start to lose muscle, but that isn't entirely true aging. True aging is things that happen that you can't reverse. But with the process of sarcopenia, which means loss of muscle, you can reverse it by strength training, and you can hold off the process of sarcopenia until about your age 80. You hit 80, at that point now you're trying to slow down the process more than stop it or reverse it. But I remember Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, God bless him, when he that assassination attempt, he got in the weight room afterwards. They had to buy him a whole new set of clothes, not only for the bulletproof vest, but because he put like 4 inches on his chest.
Yeah, I do remember that. And he became physically fit.
Yeah, he went from a 40 jacket to a 44.
Well, I mentioned before, I won't mention his last name, but I see a guy named Rich on Sundays who's going to be 92. And, on Sundays, he ushers with me at St. John, and he kidded me the other day and said, another 3 or 4 years and I'll probably retire from this. Doesn't have any plans on slowing down. It just seems that people, as they're older, the more engaged they are, the more active they are. I mean, his point is, look, he ushers, he does all kinds of things, that it keeps him alert, it keeps him well, it keeps him active.
Absolutely. You need a purpose.
Yeah, and if you have those things, it seems to be a secret to a long life. I was visiting with some friends of mine, John and Jeannie, and we're talking about people that we grew up with. And, if you thought about it at any length, back in the day, growing up in Whiting, Robertsdale in the 1960s probably wasn't the healthiest experience. There's all kinds of stuff going into the air.
Around in the air, yeah.
But yet there were people who lived to be well into their 90s, and the people that lived to be in their 90s were the people that were the most active. And so that's part of aging, is that you age, but you also have to do your part. You have to kind of challenge yourself to keep on going.
There's something called the SAID principle, SAID, and that means specific adaptation to impose demands. And if you impose demands on your body will adapt in a positive manner to be able to take on those demands.
And that includes the brain.
More than any other organ.
There you go. All right, John. Well, thank you so much for coming in. We will see you in a couple of weeks. You'll be here on the first Wednesday.
I'll be here. Looking forward to it. Hopefully we have more news about the Bears.
I hope so. I think that was very very enlightening, very interesting this morning. So great to have the mayor on, but always great to see you. Great to have you here. And by the way, the Fever play tonight and Saturday. They're playing Atlanta. Today and Saturday, so they're playing at home and then away. So it'll be an interesting run.
Yeah, it will be.
All right, thanks. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Morning Call on WJLB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
Enjoy the taste of summer at the Farmers Market at Fox Point. Every Tuesday from 9 to 1, shop locally grown fresh produce, delicious baked goods, artisanal treats, and local culinary creations. Just minutes from I-8094, the Farmers Market at Fox Point in Lansing, Illinois is a perfect spot to hear acoustic musicians, stretch with morning yoga, and enjoy community fun throughout the season. To see all vendors and entertainment, visit foxpoint.org. That's point with an E, foxpoint.org.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad. Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention.
Phones.
I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Hey, folks, we're back, and we're going to do traffic and weather again. And I will be the first to admit, I have a special concern about traffic today because my son and his girlfriend, actually now fiance, are coming back from Greece. They spent a better part of a week in Greece. Nicolette is a veterinarian, and she had a conference to go to, and my son, Tom, who's been on the air before with me, who's an attorney, he went with her and then proposed to her, so congratulations to them. But I'm supposed to pick them up at the airport, and their flight was supposed to be at 4:15. Now it's been delayed to 4:40, although I just noticed now it's 4:35, so maybe they'll make up the time. But I'm looking at the Kennedy Expressway is a parking lot today. The Eisenhower is a parking lot today. The Stevenson is a parking lot. And if I take 294 around the city, I'm going to run into problems on that one too. So there's just no good way to get there. If you're going into the city this morning, just be aware of that. The Dan Ryan doesn't look too great either, folks. You get to 51st, and we're talking solid backup. On the expressways locally, 8094 is showing a backup now back to Indianapolis Boulevard, or I'm sorry, from 294 to Indianapolis Boulevard. This is eastbound. So there is a traffic tie-up. If you know what's going on, give us a call at 845-1100. And I-65, the toll road, and Klein Avenue all look good. So does the Skyway. So there you have traffic. Let's talk weather.
Yep, so currently right now at the Track and Van Til Studios, it is, let's see here, let's take a little refresh here, 65 degrees. Today we are seeing highs of 72 degrees and lows of 57 degrees, clouds and some glimpses of blue sky with a shower in spots and breezy this afternoon. Tonight we are seeing clear to partly cloudy weather. Moving forward into the rest of the weekend, on Friday, highs of 77, lows of 60 degrees, mostly sunny and comfortable, partly cloudy with a shower in the late. Saturday, highs of 78, lows of 59, partly sunny and pleasant with increasingly cloudy weather. And Sunday, we're seeing a bit of a drop. 67 is a high, 58 is a low. Heavy rain and thunderstorms, rain becoming intermittent in the nighttime. So that's all for your traffic and weather.
So Father's Day sounds like it's going to be a rain out.
Mm-hmm.
But the concert at the Pavilion Saturday night, the Simon and Garfunkel tribute band or cover band is going to be playing, and I will be out there. I take it that, Adriana, you're going to find something else to do, possibly watch paint dry, right? You're not going to Simon and Garfunkel tribute
No,
band.
I only know one song.
And that song would be?
Now, hold on, because I know I looked it up because I was having this conveation about Starkey.
Would it be the one that I have like 30 versions on my phone?
Be. Yeah. Let me just make sure. Oh, wait, that's my own. Let me see here. Wow.
Well, you've got
Spotify is
Mrs.
not a good
Robinson.
thing.
You've got the Boxer.
I think Mrs. Robinson is probably
Sounds of
that
Silence.
one.
Sounds of Silence is their biggest. So
Sounds of Silence,
Yes.
I believe.
So I have 30 copies, and actually when the mayor was here, I was kidding him about it as he was leaving, and what really happened is we went on a trip to China. And we're on the bus. We're going through like rural China, and the mayor grabs my phone and says, "Hey, let's see what songs Dabertin has on his phone." And he goes in there. He goes, "Oh my God, what the hell's wrong with you?" He goes, "You have like 30 different versions of Sounds of Silence, and they're all by Simon and Garfunkel." And I said, "Well, but there's different, there's differences." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." And he handed me the phone back, but he didn't check. I also have 18 versions of The Boxer. I probably have a dozen versions of Mrs. Robinson. See, I would think Jed would be a Simon and Garfunkel fan.
I think so.
I've never asked him. I think he's roaming around somewhere over here. And if he walks by, we're going to ask him. I would think he would be into Simon and Garfunkel, especially you went to Berkeley. The movie The Graduate. I mean, there's got to be some influence in his selection of music. I know he's a Deadhead, so is McDermott. But,
oh yeah.
But I could see him listening to Simon and Garfunkel. The mayor, not so much. I mean, he is a Taylor Swift fan. He is. I mean,
I found that out today. I was like, okay.
What, that he's a Taylor
Swiftie?
Swift? Oh yeah, no, he is. He is a Swiftie. There's no doubt about it. And he actually has a life-size cutout in his office of her. So there you go. But at 845-1100, the phone lines are now open, and we've got a couple of callers. We're going to be here till 9 o'clock. So let's go to the calls. Good morning. You're on the air.
What's up, tough guy? How you doing?
Now, how many Simon and Garfunkel songs can you name?
Sound of Silence, Mrs. Robinson. I can't name them. I know a lot of them.
The Boxer.
I'll tell you what, though. Yeah, I don't even know what that is, but I saw, who was it now? Paul Simon with the African band that he had on, I can't remember the name of the album.
Yep.
You remember what it was called?
I can't remember the name of the album either, but I've got it on my phone. So, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I got a call from somebody, and they go, "Hey, we got 2 tickets no one's using." And I was coming back from, like, skiing somewhere. And so I met my cousin, and we went and saw this at the Rosemont Theater. We were about 4 rows in the middle off the center, right in front. One of the best concerts I'd ever seen in my entire life. It was so fantastic. He had like at least 30 African American. Well, no, I think they're actually just African musicians up there. And he went through this whole album, and then he was doing his other songs in between.
It's the Graceland album.
And
it's the Graceland album.
Graceland, yeah.
Yep.
What a production, though. It was absolutely fantastic. It was brilliant. And I think there's a DVD, which is a couple hours long, you can get. Just incredible, though. It was really, really fantastic.
Yeah, you know what? I saw Simon and Garfunkel actually in their reunion tour after their Central Park concert back in the 1980s at the old Comiskey Park, and it was kind of crazy.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't get anybody else to go. Okay, Rick Mossels is like, not going. Nope, no chance. And he didn't go. Mark Santa was going to go. Denise Santa's brother, he was going to go. He had something else going on. I couldn't find anybody. I ended up going by myself. And I'd be honest with you, it was one hell of a great concert because there were like a ton of people there that all came by themselves. And we all sat together and had a really good time. So, yeah, good concert.
Was
but
it sold
I'm looking
out?
forward to it. Oh, yeah. No, it was totally sold out. Yep. Yeah, sure was.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the Jacksons reunion tour there, one of the last shows they ever did at Comiskey Park, and it was packed, and I think they oversold it too. I mean, it was just absolute mayhem.
You know, one of the people that was there by himself was the alderman that was Blagojevich's father-in-law, Dick Mill. Dick Mill was there by himself for that concert. And he's sitting there, and somebody
Simon and Garfunkel?
Yeah, and somebody says, "Hey, you look like Dick Mill," and he goes, "Yeah, well, check my driver's license. I am." And he was sitting there, and it was just crazy. And he's like, and we're like, "Well, you came by yourself?" And he's like, "Yeah, I came by myself. I like Simon and Garfunkel. Nobody else wanted to come with me." So he was. I remember he was there.
Yeah, and then he stole that guy's wallet right after that.
Well, you know, he was a Chicago politician.
Hey, so you were talking about people passing out at Pierogi Fest,
yeah.
And I was calling in when you had Doherty on, and I was like, hey, didn't one time when you were in your little skirt and coconut bra, you saw your reflection in Chuck Pullen's in the glass at Chuck Pullen's laundromat, and you passed out on yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and that's why when Jeff Smith was
from
here
the
yesterday,
shock of seeing what you actually look like.
Yeah, that's right. No, when Jeff Smith was here yesterday, I mentioned that he's a former fire chief of the city of Hammond. He's a Public Servant of the Year award winner. He's the Port Authority director, and I said, and he's the guy that saved my life. And he kind of like went, shh, like don't bring that up. But he did. Listen, if it wasn't for Jeff, I probably would have died. I'm not kidding you. My heart rate was just way off the chart. I mean, it was like 260, 270 at that point. And Jeff basically came over there. He was told by a couple of people, including Frank Mervan, I give Frank Mervan credit, for calling Jeff Smith, and they said, hey, Tom's acting a little erratically. We think he might have some medical issue. You need to come over here. Jeff actually showed up right away, being a good friend that he was, and he said, as I'm coming there, I'm thinking to myself, okay, yeah, I don't want to argue with Tom. If he's sick, he's such a bullheaded person. He's going to argue with me. And Jeff and I love to argue, and that's great. It's part of our friendship. And so Jeff said, and then the light went off. He remembered. He had both my daughter and son's cell phone numbers in his phone. And, it was always, Jeff was one of those people that we always told the kids, hey, listen, if, something happens, here's somebody you can contact. And so he basically grabbed the phone, called Rachel, and said, look, I need you to convince your dad, no matter what, I think he's having some health issues, and you're going to have to convince him that he needs to listen to me. And so Jeff comes up.
I saw that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff,
I was a witness to that. And when he came up to you, though, and then when you kind of semi-passed out, we saw Jeff giving you mouth-to-mouth to bring you back to life, but I thought Jeff, 10 minutes of mouth-to-mouth,
no, Jeff,
I thought that was overkill.
No, Jeff would have just stomped on my face if that were the case. But no, really,
I didn't
what
think
happened
10 minutes of mouth-to-mouth was necessary.
No, what really happened is Jeff walked up. I did argue with him. I said, listen, I have a parade to run. I've got a festival to run. I don't have time for this. And he's like, okay, so you don't want to listen to me. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to listen to you. Not now. I said, you can take me to the hospital after this is all over. And he goes, okay, that's how you want to be. And he just, all of a sudden, I saw him kind of, flip his head. And I turned around, and there's my daughter. And she had her finger right in my face, and she said, Dad, you need to listen to Jeff Smith for once in your life. And he had the biggest grin on his face because he knew he had me. And then my son shows up with all his friends, and they're screaming at me to get in the ambulance. And Jeff's like, oh, you're going to listen? You're going to listen? And he actually, I think to this day, it was one of the highlights of his friendship with me because he won. He won hands down. Again, he had my kids. He had my kids basically involved, and Jeff's a good guy. And again, people don't realize Jeff sometimes flies under the radar, just like this thing with Ricky Strabavi. I'm not surprised that Jeff Smith's involved. I'm just not. And people don't give him as much credit as he deserves for the things he does. So there you go. And now he's got it on the airwaves, and he's got a recording of it. Oh my God.
Hey, so did your boy McDermott lose a couple pounds? He looks like he slimmed down a little.
Well, you say he's training for the triathlon in Chicago. And, I know he's an excellent swimmer. He swam with my brother David before out in Lake Michigan. And, of course, he was, he was in the Navy and he was training as a diver. So he's a good swimmer. So and he's always been a good runner, and he's great on a bicycle. I mean, Tom McDermott has no problem riding from his house to Buckingham Fountain and back. I know he does it several times in the summer. I see him. So I would think that if he's preparing for the triathlon, he'll have no problem. He's in good shape.
Okay, so here's a question for you. Since I know you like these semi-half asinine movies, have you ever seen any of the Scary Movie series?
Oh, absolutely. Scary movie. Oh, sure. Of course. I mean,
have you seen the one that's out now?
No, but I plan on it. Here's a question. I know it's in the movie theaters right now, and the chance of me getting Donna to go with me to a stupid movie is okay. Hold on. Before I even said it, Adriana's sitting there shaking her head. Absolutely not. Okay,
I already know she's not going to want to go.
No, there's no way. So I'll tell you what.
Adriana, have you seen it?
Oh, I've seen them. I've seen a bunch of them. There are moments where I'm like, this is funny. This is cinematic gold.
Have you seen the newest
one? Now,
the
newer ones I don't really like because I think it's just absolute brain rot. But then that's what Scary Movie's supposed to be.
But what's wrong with brain rot?
Yeah, I'm like, you're not going there to get like your GED.
Yeah, no, it's just like to a point. Like some movies that are similar to Scary Movie, they appeal to a lot of the say like brain rot, the phrases, and just the little trends.
There's
nothing wrong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
No, brain
Me
rot
personally,
is good.
I'm like, okay, I can only watch like 20 minutes of this, but that's what it's supposed to be. That's exactly what it's supposed to be.
So, yeah, I plan on seeing it. One of these days, Donna, her sons will come in or something. They'll probably go to a Cubs game coming up soon. And when they do, I will go and see Scary Movie. What is it, 6 or 7, whatever it is now?
I think it's 5, actually.
Well, hey,
I thought it's I don't know what number. Well, here's the reason I asked. So I went and saw whatever it was. I can't remember what it was. But so as I get out, I went to like a little earlier show, and I'm hearing the Michael Jackson music blaring out of the theater. So I'm like, hey, I'll sneak in there and watch the last 10 minutes of that. Fantastic movie, Michael. No doubt about it.
Yeah, you said you saw it. It was great.
Absolutely fantastic. I know this black dude I played pickleball with, he said he's seen it 7 times.
Wow.
Now, would I do 7? No, but I mean, it was a fantastic movie, though. But now, so I jump out of that one, and I'm hearing this just cuss words left and right coming out of another theater, and the doors are wide open. What the heck is in that movie? So I walk in, and it's Scary Movie. I sat there for about 10 minutes because I had something to do. I got to admit, it was hysterical. I couldn't believe I was laughing for 8 of the 10 minutes. It was, so I'm going to go see it. It's pretty. It seemed like it was pretty funny, but just making fun and swearing and making fun of race and religion and
this is Scary Movie,
they
right?
Just take everything down.
Scary Movie takes down everything. They always take down everything. They do. I mean, there's Scary Movie.
It was a pretty good deal.
I mean, there were the Scary Movies. I mean, with Pamela Anderson and oh gosh, what was her name? She was another one that was on Baywatch, darker haired. She was hilarious in it. There have been a bunch of them. I mean, look, it's just, again, there's no redeeming value to those movies. And what's crazy is as you know, I love classic old movies, okay? Meet John Doe and Casablanca and all those movies. I love those too. But I love a stupid movie. To me, I want to be entertained sometime. I want to sit there and I want to leave with no purpose, no reason, no message, and scary movie usually fills the bill.
Well, they've got, your one great movie, and where'd it go here? Oh, yeah. Citizen Kane is going to be in the theater starting right around the 4th of July.
Citizen Kane is
on the big screen.
It is a great, phenomenal movie. I don't think, just personally, I don't think it's as good as Meet John Doe. And I also will say that the other movie, Grapes of Wrath, I think Grapes of Wrath is possibly one of the most flawless movies ever made. I'm a Steinbeck fan anyway, so I think that's a great movie.
Yeah, that is very good.
Yeah, I think Citizen Kane is a phenomenally good movie. I mean, I put it in there in the top 5. I mean, Casablanca is another one. Those movies. And by the way, I will throw The Wizard of Oz as still one of the greatest movies ever made, because you look at the technology and the acting, it's so flawless. I mean, I think Wizard of Oz is a great movie. So those are some classic movies that I love. And then don't get me started on my war movies.
I was hoping they would bring Chinatown back to the theater, because that would be fantastic to see on the big screen. It hasn't shown up yet, though.
You're right. Chinatown would be a good one to see on the big screen. You're right about that. That's a great movie, no doubt. I mean,
and they did have Gone with the Wind in the theater, 3 hours and 55 minutes. You were recommended, they said, to bring your own sleeping bag.
You know what?
That's a long haul, boy.
But Gone with the Wind, so when they brought it back in the 1990s, they brought it back on the big screen. I saw it at the Hoosier Theater. They had the intermission that they actually used to have when they showed it, basically when it was released. Gone with the Wind, again, in the top 5. One of the greatest movies ever done. There's no doubt about it. It's an amazing movie. The acting is spectacular. When you look at the quality of the movie for that time, it's remarkable. Yeah, it's remarkable. So, another great movie. And then,
here's my last comment.
Sure.
The movie called The Invite with Seth Rogen, Penelope Cruz. What's my other boy's name? I can't remember his name. Oh, yeah, Edward Norton. And then Olivia Wilde. I think it's going to be like a great kind of creepy comedy thriller type movie coming up. It'll be out in about a week. So you got plenty of time to spend your weekend at the St. James Fest in Highland. Go support the Catholics Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then go check this movie out next week.
Yeah, and the movie that I still want to see is Pressure. I want to see the movie Pressure.
Yeah, it's good. I liked it. I enjoyed it a lot, particularly since I looked at a couple different write-ups about it, and they said it pretty stuck to a pretty true, retelling of the story of how that actually went down. Yeah, so it was very thrilling, though.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see it. Hey, thanks for the call. 845-1100.
Later, brother.
We have another caller. Nope, they hung up. So call back. I know there was another caller on there, but we maybe went a little long, but we usually do. After 8:30, it's a little easier to go a little bit longer with phone calls. So if you want to call in, 845-1100. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to movies, Mad Mac is the expert, no doubt about it. But I love movies, and what's really crazy is I love really stupid movies. Then I love classic movies. Yeah. And then I love war movies. So we haven't talked war movies. I mean, name a war movie. I
just recently watched. I know it's been out forever. I just haven't gotten around to watching it. Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge is a good movie.
I just got around to watching that one. There's a couple other ones that I still have to see. But
a good recent war movie would probably be Dunkirk.
Yeah.
Dunkirk,
I know that one's on my list.
2017. That was really good.
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan is an absolute masterpiece. I was in the movie theater when there were World War II veterans there, and they literally were emotional because they felt it was so realistic. That says a lot. The Great Escape, Bridge on the River Kwai, my wife basically has hidden my copy of Bridge on the River Kwai because she says, look, you can only watch them blow the bridge up 155 times. Yeah. And I will sit there a whole weekend and watch the movie and then back it up and watch them blow up the bridge and then watch the whole movie again, then back it up, watch them blow up the bridge. And she's like, okay, there's something wrong with you. So I think she hid it from me. Guns of Navarone, The Longest Day, I'm not a fan of John Wayne, but the rest of the movie's pretty darn good. There's just a ton of war movies that I know and love. So
one of the ones you mentioned, it's not a war movie, but one of the ones you mentioned, Casablanca. I tried watching it, and I don't know why. I got kind of is a little slow paced for me.
Casablanca, though, is a very good movie. It really is.
Yeah, I gotta try watch it again.
It's a love story. And it's a war movie. And then Mrs. Miniver. You need to watch a movie called Mrs. Miniver. Okay, now this is from 1940.
Okay,
and Greer Garson. It is a movie that won, I think, 5 or 6 Academy Awards. It was produced before we got into World War II, the U.S. So it's British based. It's a phenomenal movie. All right, it is just a very emotional movie. It shows how people basically, when the war started in Britain, they're dismissing it. Lady Belden, played by Dame Mae Whitty, is upset because it might upset her Rose show, her annual Rose show. And the impact of the movie is just unreal. It's a great movie. And the very end, there is a telling scene. The very end puts goosebumps on your arms when you watch it. I mean, it's just, I can't tell you. There's also a love angle in the movie, but just an amazing movie. And when you realize when it was shot and when it was produced, and the fact that they produced this movie and they didn't know the outcome of World War II, you need to watch it. That's a great movie. So, Mrs. Miniver, one of the greatest war movies of all time. And 845-1100, if you've got a favorite movie or favorite war movie, call us and tell us why. On the other hand, if you get to stupid movies, Airplane, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Spaceballs, Animal House. All the Porky's movies would be right in there. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, I say that with reverence. I mean, that is a great movie. It's the reason why I don't think what's his name, the one of the lead actors in it, is such a great actor because John
and Kumar.
No.
John and Kumar movies.
That's a great series of movies too. But who is the very serious actor that played, in Fast Times at Ridgemont High? Sean Penn. And he plays Spicoli, okay? And no matter what movie I see him in now, I see him as Spicoli. And you've seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and it's stupid, right?
It is. It is completely stupid.
But it's a great movie.
It is.
And I've watched the movie probably, 50, 60 times now. And every time I watch it, I'm like, yeah. And then somebody says, like Mad Max. Oh, listen, you ought to see Sean Penn and whatever. And it's like, I can't.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? And it's like, because I just see him as Spicoli. I just see him as this dumb burnout, very believable dumb burnout. And that's one of my top movies, too. Yeah, Harold and whatever.
John and Kumar.
Yeah, those are great. Those are great movies.
I remember watching it for the first time. My parents showed me the one where they go to White Castle.
Yep.
And me and my brother were sitting there, and we're just like, this was a trip. This was definitely a wild ride of a movie. Why is it 5-star cinema going to win an Oscar? No. Maybe not, but they're like, but do you want White Castle now? I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it's dumb and fun.
Was this the setup to have White Castle for dinner?
Oh, absolutely. And then, I mean, of course, I mentioned Animal House, which is just a spectacular movie. That's such a classic. But there's also a television show, and they had a couple of movies, although they never really played in the movie theaters, but Trailer Park Boys. Have you seen any Trailer Park Boy
I don't
episodes?
think I have, no.
So I encourage people listening to watch Trailer Park Boys, because if you want to see something just totally worthless, stupid, with no redeeming value whatsoever, watch an episode of Trailer Park Boys. You can find it online. It is one of the dumbest shows ever done. It's done as a kind of a mockumentary, a documentary of a trailer park in Canada. Mm-hmm. And the three main characters are the three biggest morons on planet Earth. And the hijinks and the things they get involved in are hysterical. But, I mean, just no redeeming quality whatsoever. And my wife says you should not mention Trailer Park Boys on the air because people will think less of you when they watch it. So it's that stupid. It's that stupid.
Yeah.
But I will admit, they actually had a Trailer Park Boys live in concert a few years ago at the Chicago Theater. It was a sellout, and I went with it with my oldest brother, and we thought it was hysterical. I mean, it was great. And, like my brother said, but don't admit to anybody that you actually went. So, but I did. Stupid movies fit me very well, but also classical movies.
Classics.
Yeah, and I mean, again, there are so many great movies.
I will say, you guys mentioned Gone with the Wind. So I had my boyfriend, I had him watch Gone with the Wind because he was like, I got like 5 hours. I don't know what to do. And I was working I was doing work at school. So I was just like, yeah, you got 5 hours to kill? Go watch Gone with the Wind as a joke. And he was like, well, okay, what's it on? I was like, it's on HBO Max. Go watch it. He's replying to me. He's texting me all the updates, watching this movie, going through all the feels. And he saw the scene where he's like, the man fell off the horse, and that's how he died. And I was like, yes. And I just didn't say anything. I was like, yep. So then an hour later, I just get in all big text, Bonnie. And I'm like, so sorry. He's like, why are you making me watch this? This is horrible. I'm like, I didn't make you watch it. This is all you.
But did he like it?
He said that was an amazing movie, that it didn't even feel like he was there for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie. And what's really crazy is that when you look at movie history, Gone with the Wind came out the same year as Wizard of Oz.
It did, yes.
And so you had these blockbuster movies that came out all in 1939, and there were a few others, and they say it was kind of the golden age of Hollywood because they came out with these amazing movies.
They did.
And to me,
it was just me. Yeah, I will say I did debunk his theory. He has not seen many movies, so I'm like, it's movie education every time we hang out. But he thought that The Wizard of Oz was actually about wizards, and I was like, no,
Wizard of Oz
it is not.
A classic.
There's one wizard, but it's not like Harry Potter. He's like, I thought it was like Harry Potter. I showed him the trailer. He's like, I was so far off. I'm like, yep, we're going to have to watch that one. That's on the list.
The other movie that I will say, I'll admit, is one of my favorite movies is Sound of Music.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I love the movie Sound of Music. And let me tell you why. A couple of reasons. Number one, I think the musical score is phenomenal.
Yes.
Okay. The scenery was shot on location. And my grandmother, who I was extremely close to, knew some of the locations, and she described, when she grew up in Europe, what it was like, and she was born in a town called Galsage, which is actually now part of Germany, but it would have been northern Austria at the time, and that's where she grew up, and so part of it was my connection to her, and part of the fact too, growing up, my mother, who had a professional singing career before she had kids, used to sing a lot of those musical scores when she'd be around the house. And so I remembered, her singing all those songs. And so I enjoy that movie as well. I have to say that's a masterpiece, I think. Although I did mention this a few years ago, and people, including my wife, got mad, but Christopher Plummer did not sing in the movie. It's all dubbed.
Really?
Yeah. Bill Lee actually sang. So Edelweiss, for example, and some of the others where they show him singing, it's actually Bill Lee. and Peggy, what's her name, who plays the Mother Superior, who was a very famous singer and had the range to sing Climb Every Mountain. She actually, part of her performance is also dubbed in by a lesser-known singer just because she had throat cancer at the time. So it was Julie Andrews who wanted her in the movie. And so, there's a couple of facts and information that people are like, hey, great, you're ruining the movie. Shut up now. So 5 more minutes and I will shut up. But again, I like a lot of movies. I enjoy movies. And again, I can sit there and I can watch war movies for hours. And I can watch stupid movies for hours. And then the other thing that I like are the old noir movies, the old detective movies and police movies. There are a number of Humphrey Bogart movies that are very, very good. For example, and they show them on that channel over the airwaves, movie channel, which is like 32.2.
Yep.
And they show them on Thursday night and Sunday night. And those are great movies, and I will watch them. And my wife kind of laughs at me because she's like, well, what are you going to watch tonight? Especially Sunday night. I will watch one of those movies. She'll go up to sleep, and I'll stay down with Sophie and watch one of those movies. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy movies, not so much in the summer. Obviously, in the winter, it's a lot more fun to sit inside and watch those things. But if it's going to be raining on Sunday, it sounds to me like it might be a movie day. You never know. So
there you go. So you spend Father's Day watching movies.
Well, I'm sure we'll go out to dinner. We always do. Mm-hmm. But I can get into. Especially this time of the year, I can get into older movies. All right, I've missed out on a lot of great newer movies, and every so often I'll say I saw a movie. Like I saw, Roofman not too long ago.
Okay.
And Jed talked about it like 2 years ago, and I finally got around watching it. And he was like, "You got to be kidding me! Like, what the hell's wrong with you? I mean,
everybody saw it?"
And I have, I have Netflix and I have HBO Max. I have them both, but I also have Prime, so I've got plenty of sources, but I just don't watch them now. This time of the year, tonight, I guarantee it. Once I get back from O'Hare, which again, the
traffic
doesn't look too good. It's getting worse. I will probably watch the Indiana Fever take on the Atlanta Dream. I'll watch the end of the game. So, I can watch sports this time of the year. I can't really sit there and watch too much else unless it's news or, I can always watch an Andy Griffith Show rerun. As long as it's black and white. I can't watch any of the Andy Griffith color versions.
Yeah, I will say one older movie that I saw in black and white was It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh my God!
And then
I left them off. I left it off. I apologize. I left it off the list, folks, because It's a Wonderful Life. Again,
it's a fantastic movie.
Okay, any movie by Frank Capra is spectacular.
Yeah.
Frank Capra might have been the greatest movie director of all time. I mean, he did it. It's a Wonderful Life. He did Meet John Doe.
Yeah.
He also Grapes of Wrath. Those were all his movies, and I mean, just phenomenal.
Yeah. I saw it in black and white the first time, and I absolutely adored it. It is one of my favorite Christmas movies. I saw it in theaters in black and white, and then when I had showed it to somebody, I was like, okay, we're gonna watch It's a Wonderful Life. We watched it in color, and I was sitting there. I'm like, okay. Although I appreciate seeing what color everybody's wearing and all these different things, I just love it in black and white, and I won't. If I have a preference, I will watch it in black and white. I will not watch it in color.
Yeah, I don't like the colorization of old movies. There's a movie that I think is one of the greatest masterpieces of all time. It's called March of the Wooden Soldiers with Laurel and Hardy. Mm-hmm. That is an amazing movie. Watch that movie sometime. It's not that long, but it came out before The Wizard of Oz, and it's the technology and the work that was done to create March of the Wooden Soldiers with Laurel and Hardy in the 1930s was so so painstakingly difficult to make. It's a true classic.
Yep.
One of the great movies. He takes on, they take on Simon Bar Sinister, I think, and they save Toyland, and I mean, it's just this great movie. And Laurel and Hardy don't get enough credit because they truly were the masters of comedy, and they created a lot of the comedy to this day. A lot of the comedic approaches were created by Laurel and Hardy, and they did a great job. So with that, we are out of time.
We are.
It's great sitting in with you this morning.
Yep, great sitting with you. We could talk movies all day if we wanted to.
That's right. And I will be back next Wednesday morning. So as always, keep it tuned right here to WJOB 1230 M, 104.7 FM, all day, all night, all weekend. And we will see you back next Wednesday morning beginning at 6 a.m. with the morning call. Have a great week and great weekend, folks. Take care of yourselves.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad. Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.